And welcome everyone to the Chess.com 4-Player Chess Championship. I'm Benjamin Bach, and I'm joined today by Jay. Jay, how are we doing today?
Very well, thank you, Benjamin. Very well. How are you?
Doing well, and yeah, Jay, we have an exciting format today. Can you tell us a little bit more about us?
Sure. So, we are here with the 8 qualifiers from the 8 qualifier arenas, including defending champion Luis Ignacio. Now, what we're doing at the beginning is grouping the players into groups of 4, where they will play 90 minutes against each other in 2 different semi-final brackets. The scoring system: 3 points for a win, 1 point for second or third, and 0 points for fourth. The top 2 players at the end of this 90 minutes will qualify through to the finals.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what that will mean for the strategy of the players. And Jay, I also see that the time control will be 4 minutes with no bonus time. What does that mean? I mean, I guess we will see some crazy time scrambles, right?
Absolutely. So it's certainly gonna a lot of the time I think this is gonna come down to how well we utilize our time in the middle game. Most of these players can be very familiar with their opening theory. So when clocks start running low, pressure's going to get high, and you're not just playing against your opponent's one opponent's clock. You're playing against 3 opponents' clocks. So we're going to find that it's not only material that matters, but if someone's up a whole minute, despite maybe even being down a lot of material, they might be the one who's targeted.
hmm Yeah, I'm really curious to see how that dynamic will play out. I mean, you're really an expert in this format. I'm not, but I'm more than happy to learn from you today. But Jay, let's have a look at the players we have today, as we have 2 semifinals. Jay, tell us, what do you know about these players?
Well, it's going to be exciting for sure because in semi-final number 1, we have Eye of the Tiger, aka Luis Ignacio, the current defending champion and the significant favorite in the group. Alongside with him are 3 players who, for the 4-player chess people out there, might be a bit surprised to see, because Kugo Rundi is primarily a teams player, and Joshua Pro and Winsby are, although respectable players, are definitely the weaker ones in the field. But the real excitement's coming on. We're going to semi-final 2, where we have 2 or 3 of arguably the strongest players to have ever played the game competing, with Outlawed Gangster, Varhan, aka Cha Cha Chess, the first player to hit 3000 this variant in Rapid and Blitz, and Rahito, arguably the greatest free-for-all player to have lived and the highest peak all-time rating, north of 3500. That one is going to be a real toss-up. I have no idea which way it's going to go, but I am eagerly looking forward to it.
Yeah, I've played 4-player chess sometimes for fun. I mean, 3,500 to me sounds absolutely astronomical. I mean, I have no idea what kind of tricks and traps these players have up their sleeve. But yeah, soon the games will get underway, Jay. So yeah, like I said, we have 2 semifinals. Are there 2 players you're looking at in each group that you think, like, hey, those 2 are most likely to advance to the final?
Well, let's pop right in because the first semi-final has begun. But yes, of semi-final 2, Eye of the Tiger, clear favorite. I see no reason in which he is not going to be the one who qualifies. The other 3, I think it's a complete toss-up. But here in semi-final 2, with Prathu, Rahito, Varhan, and Gangster, it's really hard to say because I think Rahito is a player who 100% deserves and should be one who qualifies. Varhan, a veteran of the game, and Gangster, relatively new on the scene. He's come up over the last couple years and is now topping out the leaderboards, normally in first or at least top 3.
hmm
So this could go almost absolutely any way. So I'm eager to see who it does. I think Prathu is the one who is the furthest away from winning chances, but you never know. I think it's very competitive, and on if anyone's playing on a particularly good day, I think it could go to any one of them.
Absolutely, yeah. And Jay, I believe you said earlier that the players cannot see who their teammate is. They cannot see who their opponents are. I mean, not in what order, so to speak. One thing that stands out to me, Jay, and I'm more than happy to hear your explanations about that, is that I saw that red started out with pawn to That is h3 spawn here to open up their bishop, and they open up their queen, whereas black moved their pawns here and here, kind of blocking. I mean, they open up this bishop, but they block this bishop. Can you explain us a little bit of strategy? I guess it's to defend these points next to their king, right? To make sure that they're safe. Is that a strategy?
100% this is the reason. So ideally, we don't like trapping our bishop behind the pawn chain. You know, this is something fundamental to regular chess. But in this particular dynamic, given to the placement of the queen, so we can see, for example, queens can appear. They start staring at the diagonals down on the different kings, right? As kind of indicated by these arrows. It's very important that we don't allow a situation where this pawn and this pawn are captured by two queens, which would deliver double check and mate, right?
Hmm.
So naturally, a good way of doing that is by playing this pawn forwards, cutting it off, but also giving the queen vision of weak squares, such as the one arrowed here.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but already we're getting into the game. We can see that blue's queen is deep in the yellow camp, sitting on this I13 square, and has been tempoed by yellow. So yellow is attacking it. This gives the opportunity for red to create counter pressure on blue so that blue has to respond to both threats. In this case, you can see yellow arrowing, sacrifice your queen, blue does it.
But that was not a sacrifice, right? Because the queen was defended by this. Oh, like I guess it was, but the other queen could take it. That's why it was a sacrifice.
Exactly.
Um. Okay, interesting. One thing that I find difficult is I feel like blue and green look so much alike, right? I mean, it's hard to tell the difference.
Oh, with the colors. Well, you can edit these in the settings at least.
Uh
So
huh.
that's the one good thing. Blue has pushed their pawn forward, opening a discovery on the yellow knight on I13. So yellow has to respond to this. For those wondering, um, why did this recapture happen, and why did green not just take this bishop on A6? Because it's a hanging bishop. He could take it. In four-player chess, free for all, it's generally to your benefit to work with the player across from you, even to the point, as we saw earlier, sacrificing your own queen to keep them in the game. Because when a player gets eliminated, if your opposite player gets eliminated, you're now sandwiched between two players. This makes it very hard to find safety for your king.
Okay, interesting.
But yes, we're moving in. It's green to move. They're already struggling a little bit on the clock, but they do have 9 points. They do have their material, and their king is quite safe. Red centralizing their knights. Now our goal is activate. How do we get the quickest activity? We've lost the queen. We need to bring other things in.
Right. I mean, at first glance, it seems like yellow and green are doing pretty well. They both have 9 points, whereas red and blue only have 1 point. And red has lost their queen. Has um blue lost the queen as well?
Yes, that was the queen sacrifice. Red sacrificed their queen on blue's weak f7 pawn. In this case, it's b6. And in return, yellow was able to capture the queen that was on I13. Now, as we can see, being arrowed by blue, a nice little tactic. The green is guarding the square. The knight is threatening to hop in, where it forks the bishop, the queen, and the rook. And if captured, it allows a recapture with check. The check, of course, only being useful if blue can make use of it. But fortunately for blue, this bishop here on a6 is able to capture on g12.
Uh-huh. Right. I see. Interesting. Okay, so let's see what red is gonna do. Red is no wait, sorry, it is green. It's green to move. Never mind, green to move. 'Cause- so white sorry, no wait.
Yeah,
Red was to move. Red took the bishop. Now it's blue to move. So you were looking at that move knight to e12. This one, right?
exactly. This was one of their ideas, but of course we have to consider whether or not it works. Um, Instead, we're going, it seems, for the counterpunch against red. This makes some sense, of course, because red is a little bit harder to defend, but it does give yellow the time to play this move, queen f12, covering the e12 square.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also know, by the way, that the queen is now currently under attack by the red bishop. So perhaps yellow is considering that as well. Yellow can, I guess, take this knight over here on f5 or the bishop on k7. What would you do, Jay?
Well, we wouldn't be wanting to take away that bishop on k7 for a couple of reasons. One, it's our opposite player's bishop, so that bishop is actually there to support us. It's not there to hurt us. But on top of that, that doing so will leave the guard of the e12 square. Leaving the guard of the e12 square, as we know, has some potential problems and downsides.
Uh, I see. So then would you consider taking that knight on f5? Oh, he takes the pawn on
Yes,
m10. Why was he so interested in that particular pawn?
the main benefit of that pawn is not necessarily the pawn itself, but the fact that it allows a follow-up check with knight to l8. So should it be required, suppose red gets under serious problems and green is able to sort of try and abuse the fact that red is in danger, yellow can counter sacrifice, for example.
Mhm.
So that is the reason why having a knight here is very good, because this green king is kind of running out of sort of squares where it's safe.
Okay. We see white has just advanced that pawn to, g3. Is that to shelter the king a little bit to make sure that this diagonal remains a little bit more closed?
So that is one certainly a benefit, but also it was to open up and develop their light squared bishop. Their bishop wants to come to g2. That's why blue made the move king to b9, because we just want to get out of that check.
Right. Yeah, as I understand, checks are very annoying because if you're checked from one side, then if you're checked from the other side as well, then all of a sudden you could be in big trouble and it could simply be checkmate. And yeah, so let's see how this will play out. It looks like yellow has a lead. Would you say yellow is doing well here?
Yellow is certainly doing fine, but there is a bit of pressure on their position that we have to be aware of. That king is a little bit exposed, um, especially if blue follows through and takes that bishop with check. The king is going to be dragged out into the board in a right position for green to counterattack by taking the j13 pawn with check if they so wish. So let's see what green's going to decide. They're also running low on the clock, but yeah, we're doing this. We're going after the material. There's fortunately no way for him to block in a way that guards that attacks the green queen whilst green is under check. But blue now has to find an active and useful move to try and help out green in this position.
Okay, so yellow marches forward with the queen. We see that green is currently in check. Can they, yeah, just push up that pawn as pointed out by the arrow, or is that gonna lead to trouble? Could uh,
It's
blue be
obligatory.
looking at this move?
So if that move came with checkmate in a position, then it's certainly one that would be considered. But blue has lifted their rook, and
I.
yellow has defended the bishop on L7, meaning that green has to move their king again.
Mhm.
This is likely going to result in some potential trade-offs here. However, the position is just looking very, very sharp, and green has only got a single sort of good move to do here, after which another check is incoming, and it's going to force a rook sacrifice from blue.
Mhm.
Oh, but this is an even smarter way of doing it. Bishop to m6. The threat, queen l7, checkmate. The only way to stop it, of course, is to sacrifice the rook on the knight, allowing queen to recapture, after which there will be a mass queen trade-off, and yellow's king will be stuck in the middle.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, and that is what's happening on the board. So I assume green, yeah, will take, and he does. Okay, we see red takes the queen on h11. It feels funny saying that. But one thing that stands out to me, I feel like yellow's doing really well. Yellow has the most points, and yellow also has the most time. Green is running dangerously low on time with only 30 seconds, which is really hard to navigate as such a difficult game as four-player chess because you have to look at such a big board.
I couldn't agree more. Green is deep in the doldrums here. There it seems to be very their chances are looking somewhat slim. They're going to have to start just making quick moves at this point. the best positions. I think, as you said, yellow is looking good on points, but the real standout to me right now is red, who, as we said, has only lost their queen. Here they delivered a double check, so they get
Ooh.
2 points for doing so. But they also have an acceptable amount of time and a big material lead over the other players.
Yeah, let's see how this one plays out. Green has currently also caught up in points to yellow, so we'll see what's going to happen. Okay, yellow just promoted their pawn. That's something that you should not forget at this. If you have a pawn that just pushes up the board, all of a sudden it turns into a queen. And I also wanted to remind everybody that this is part of a arena, so to speak, timer of 90 minutes ticking down. That's a timer you see on top of J. Right now we have 77 minutes left. The two players that score the most points in those 90 minutes will advance to the final. So, oh, we see yellow. Oh, wait, yellow checkmated green. Is that correct? That's why they got the 20 points?
Exactly. There's a checkmate from yellow on green, and now yellow with the massive, massive point lead here. But the material count is lacking, but also the time situation. So I think, as I'm sure you can probably agree, if anyone's to be favored here, I think yellow is a strong contender, followed by red and blue. Unfortunately, with their opposite gone, they're kind of not in an ideal spot to really get anything done.
Yep. Yellow, we see yellow once again pushing the pawn up the board. I think if this pawn advances one more step, it would turn into a queen. That's why blue put the pawn here, so that it could take it. It's a strategy we see quite a lot, and I feel like the players are blitzing out their moves now, trying to
Exactly.
play quickly, trying to catch up on the clock. Oh, we see red
Yeah.
promoting as well.
And there's going to be no capture by blue there because the balance would be far too strong. Red would be simply just completely winning if blue had taken the yellow queen. So that is why blue did not take the queen and instead just ignored it and moved their king.
Ooh, we see yellow cooking up some interesting stuff. Perhaps they were looking at queen here. That's why red steps out of the way. Yeah, the queen says hello.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's looking really good to me for yellow to win this game and get the 3 points, which would take them closer to reaching the final.
Yeah, it's looking solid, especially with this time control. Now, what yellow is going to do is just shuffle their pieces for the foreseeable future. We're going to see these rooks moving up and down and up and down. Uh, and at some point, someone's going to have to make a concession. I think it's going to have to be red. They have the most potential. We're going to see them line up all their pieces. I expect the king to step out the way and this sort of Ali Atkins gun ready to be deployed.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So will be interesting to see what's going to happen. Oh, so Jay, which player do you think is playing with what color? You're probably really good at recognizing the styles of the players. Can you see like, hey, this is definitely this player playing right here, or definitely that
I
player?
I'm pretty confident that green was probably Vahan because he is the slowest of the players, which is kind of expected as one of the older people, which is weird to say given he's only in his early 20s. uh, playing here. But of the others, I think it's quite hard to tell. But Yellow's time situation is so good. I want to say that it might be Prathu. He's known to be very quick, or Hamlet. And
Mm-hmm.
Rahito, I expect, is one of red or blue. I'm more inclined to say red.
Yep. At this point, I don't see anyone stopping yellow. They have 64 points. That is a 30-point lead over red. And I guess at this point, it's quite likely to say that yellow is going to win the game. They're going to get three
But
points.
yellow can win almost by force by simply taking the bishop of reds, giving him 5 points, putting him to 69 points, and putting him far ahead of blue. But this is only the case if red does not end up just winning over blue. So he needs to weaken red whilst maintaining a
Hmm.
40-point lead on blue to guarantee a win. But with this time situation, I don't see any way out of this.
Right. I see, by the way, yellow hiding their king next to this checkmated king from green. Is that a common strategy to hide behind a king that is already dead, so to speak, so that it's difficult to get to?
Yes, just using these dead pieces just to shelter you from checks. You see a lot of these endgames checks at everything. Uh,
Hmm.
and as we can see, I think it's pretty clear we've got yellow winning. So, as I said, probably Gang or Prathu here. With red forfeit some time, he can claim the win.
Okay, so we
Okay.
see Oddlod winning the game. They're gonna gain 3 points. Rahido and Pratu, they gain 1 point, and Vahan gains 0. So that is the first game of this semifinal.
Exactly. Maybe we have the scores on what happened, or the other game is still going on. Maybe we can quickly pop there.
Hmm.
See if it's it's an end game where I mean blue just wins by force. Let's see if blue is I think there's a very good chance that he is.
Blue is also up a lot of points, so I suppose they're gonna get the 3. It's probably gonna be, what is it? Green and
Uh
red who get the, 1
it
point.
must be I. Yeah, I have the tiger. What he did was very smart. He ended up delaying the checkmate because he'd already won and just wants to put time on the clock. So let's hop back
Mm.
into Vahan, Gang, and Orihito and Parathu. And just to reinforce the sort of strength of some of these players, a Gang who won the previous one, it's one of these people where it's very rare to have someone come up so quickly and so high up in four-player chess. I mean, it's true in chess as well, but especially in this variant, a lot of experience is generally required to break through at the high levels. But within just a couple years, he's managed to just simply display himself as one of the like I think if you were to put a top 5 list of people who've ever played this game, to not put him in it, I think would be remiss.
I see. Yeah, and after that game, we saw after the game earlier, we saw the players revealed. Did was all of that expected to you, or were there a few surprises?
No, that in that first game, as we said, Varhan was green. It's very expected. But with Rahito being one of blue and red, and Gangster being yellow, I think we were fairly confident yellow was either Prathu or Gangster H, and ended up being Gangster H.
Mhm.
Or Outlawed Gangster, sorry, as he's currently known.
All right, I see. I also see quite often that players put a pawn here, let's say, I guess to block this diagonal of the queen next to them, right?
Correct. That is the main thing. And here we've actually got all the queens off quite early in this game. So I don't think we're going to see anything near as sharp as the last one. So I think it's going to be easier to follow because now all the players are going to focus on developing their minor pieces, finding good squares, getting their king to a relatively safe position.
Hmm.
And
Right.
and yeah, and I think ideally in this world now, red is probably too strong of a player to want to do this. But if red were to play d3, they would just completely lock that corner of the board, and we would immediately see from blue they play c5, bishop b5, and castles, and their king is incredibly safe,
Uh-huh.
right?
Right. Okay, so let's see if so you're saying like pawn up, knight out, and then castles, right?
Yeah, so if red did that, red would be safe, not as safe, but blue would be super safe after this and here because there's just simply no way to break
Mm.
on this side.
Yep, the fianchetto, even in four-player chess, very, very solid setup.
Yeah. So we will see, but with this bishop leaving that diagonal, it gives blue the option at some point to consider now just pushing b5.
I always get confused. B5 is
So pushing this is to c5, the b5 pawn to c5, which he does as we
right.
see.
Yep, preparing the fianchetto. Okay, so very solid setup there. If you look at these players right here, can you say like, oh, this player is that, or um, are you able to recognize any of the
With
styles?
certainty, no. The only style I'm super familiar with is blue. I'm pretty sure is Rahito because we have a very similar approach in how we deal with queenless positions. So I think that's also comes from the fact that we've both done a lot of the study on involved on that together. So we have a pretty similar idea as to how we like these positions to look like. And he's the only
Mm,
person who's adhering to that sort of principle. So that makes me think he's blue. But I'm ready to be completely wrong.
okay. All right. Yeah. We'll just have to wait for the game to end, and then the players will be revealed. Okay, so let's see how this game continues. I see that blue and red have a lead on the clock. They're still over 3 minutes, whereas yellow and green. Green is the one who's lowest on time, and that's definitely a factor. As you know, if you have to speed up, you can easily hang a lot of pieces or hang checkmate. So time management is really important in this variant.
Exactly. Lowest on time, and also I think we can probably agree has the worst position in terms of the safety of their king. They have the fewest pawns, and there's no real super great place for them to put it. And their king is kind of being surrounded by the yellow and red pieces, is slowly meaning to triangulate and sort of strangle them in the
Yeah.
position.
Okay, so I know you're
Oh,
really good at four-player chess, but to me, it always remains so difficult to see, like, for example, that this rook over here is eyeing this pawn over here. You have to look so far across the board. Is that just something players get used to?
yeah, it's definitely something that will become a something you get used to over time. In this case, for what it's worth, blue sacrificed their bishop for the red knight that was on this square. The problem for red being is after they capture, if green develops their rook to one of these squares and comes down, there's big problems regarding checkmate. So red's top priority now should be to castle, and if they're allowed to castle, they're out of the woods. But can they be stopped? Unfortunately, for others, that's not the case. But they would lose. It seems. Oh, there we go. I'm about to say they would lose a rook if they were to do it immediately. So they're sacrificing a rook first with the
Hmm.
intention of then. Oh, not even castling. We're going for the mate on green. It seems.
Yeah, so for now, green has the most points. They have 27, but their king really seems to be surrounded by this red bishop over here, the rook over here, and the knight over here. Also, this yellow bishop is also looking down. So things might turn around for green.
Maybe, but I can tell you one thing: I would not want to be green right now. There are
It's dangerous, yeah.
it's dangerous, and the only person who can come to help them is blue. And where are blue's pieces? There are none. There's nothing. They're not involved at all.
Blue doesn't care. Blue doesn't care about green. But like you said, it's kind of dangerous for blue if green dies early, because then red and yellow might just team up and go all out after blue, yeah?
Exactly. I would say that, but fortunately, as we saw in this construction, just look at this. How safe this blue king is. How do you break that without sacrificing material of which red does not really have much to work with? This knight captures is one
Hmm.
critical way of doing it, opening up the file on blue. This is only ever possible when the knight has left its usual
Yep.
outpost. I think green here is trying to think of how to survive. There are certainly ideas of sacrificing with check here in order to allow blue to take back with check. But blue says, no, thank you. I'm just going to have a queen whilst you die a slow and painful death.
Yeah. Yeah, blue is really leaving yellow, leaving green hanging here. But that queen can be taken if red wants to. It could be recaptured though, so I'm not sure if that is good. Also in this game, Jay, we should point out that the points that the players are gaining are based on the value of the pieces. So queens, correct me if I'm wrong, queens are worth 9.
Yeah,
Rooks and bishops are worth 5 because bishops are very powerful pieces in this game because of the long range. Knights are worth 3 and pawns are 1, right?
correct.
How many points do other players get if a player flags?
If a player flags, that's a great question, actually. If a player flags, assuming it's not flagging in a checkmated position where they're just like, I'm gonna just not make a move and die the least
Mhm.
honorable way possible, then what happens is all their pieces, bar the king, will become grayed out and act as blockers. But the king will still try and make legal moves on its own, a random legal move.
Mm.
So you can still chase after that king. That king is worth 20 points. That is a lot.
Are there cases where it might be the best strategy to just let your time run out instead of letting yourself get checkmated?
Yes. So Very rarely, but normally related to tournament situations as opposed to just pure ranked play. Ranked play, it wouldn't make a difference. You just only care about your ELO gain or loss. But in a tournament, if you don't want a particular individual to score the checkmate and you're pretty confident it's someone, it might only be required that you flag and allow your king to walk away from giving the mate from one player, but allow another player to take the checkmate instead.
All right, I see. In the meantime, green just got checkmated by this knight over here because the queen and rook were taking away the remaining squares. I guess it's also very like you want to attack the other kings, but you want to be the one delivering the checkmate. I mean, you can do all of the work, but then if somebody else delivers the checkmate, they get the points.
Yeah, that is a pretty tragic scenario that can happen. And here, as we can see, the problem with I want to illustrate how tactics can work in this game is blue says, "Oh, look at this cool tactic. I have knight here attacking the rook, and there's this pin." But it's not just one player who you have to deal with. It's two. Yellow says, "Okay, fine. I'm gonna move my knight to to attack the queen, and I'm gonna lift the rook to attack the knight." And now he's like, "Okay, fine. Let me move out the way. I'm gonna move out the way now. If you capture my knight, I'm gonna deliver checkmate here." And then yellow says, "No, I'm gonna block." And now the capture on the pawn guards the knight. So this kind of, as we talked about players being stuck in the middle, look how red and yellow are working together to sort of make all of blue's attempts to really utilize their material advantage almost irrelevant.
Yep. We see that blue is up on time. They have a minute 40 against 40 seconds for yellow and a minute and 25 for red. I suppose, I mean, yellow is dangerously low on time at this point.
It's certainly getting there. I think what we're gonna see is yellow start moving very quickly, um, or at least just making some automatic moves. As long as the only thing they have to make sure is that red does not get checkmated in the process. If red does get checkmated in the process, there are problems.
Why would that be problematic for yellow?
It would be problematic because they would then be playing against blue, who has not only an almost 1 minute lead, but a massive material advantage.
Okay,
So
so they want to make sure that red survives for now, yeah?
yes, they want to make automatic moves at a point. But if those automatic moves come at the cost of red getting checkmated, then they can't be letting that happen.
Okay, we see better red pushing up a pawn on the board. It's almost promoting, but this queen and bishop. Wait, oh, yeah, there it is, the promotion for red. That's definitely good news for
Oof.
them.
And blue decides to not trade. So yellow tried to be a bit cheeky there and said, "I'm not going to give up my bishop for that queen.
Mm-hmm.
That's something you're going to have to do." And wow, that is a very surprising move. But I guess I mean yellow can't and blue can't take the bishop because then they're just losing to red. So yeah, I think that's yellow saying, "I just want a free pawn. Uh, you can't take this because if you do, you're probably going to lose."
Right. Okay, so we saw earlier how safe blue was, but now they're under a bit of an attack. We see the red king marching down here. In the meantime, yellow's getting attacked.
Yeah, and they have to stop these ideas of checkmate here. So blue is forced to attack red, and really, blue and yellow have to work against red in this position because red has two queens and a rook and a minute on the clock.
We see here red pushing up another pawn, perhaps trying to get another queen going.
Yeah, and I'm surprised we didn't see him push the pawn because the pawn could not be captured due to the checkmate on b5.
Yeah, yellow is pretty safe with this construction here. They don't have a lot of pieces, but they do the job for now. And in the meantime, they're pushing these pawns off the board, trying to get another queen.
Exactly. Red with his third queen.
Checking yellow from this one angle that is okay. Now the king is safe because you cannot check on on that diagonal. Ooh, players moving super quickly now. We see yellow still having a lead in points. Well, let's see if they can keep the lead.
Yeah, and at this point, we're just going to keep. Oh, look at this. Working
Ooh,
together to remove as much material as possible.
yeah.
But
Okay.
again, as we talked about time, you have to like red's clock situation.
Yes, they have 37 seconds. Yellow has 7 seconds. Blue has 12. They're moving super. I think they're just pre-moving at this point.
Yes, and it's incredible how yellow has been on almost 11 seconds for the longest time, and they've only
Wow.
lost 5 seconds in the last, well, minutes worth of time usage of the other players. And blue is now in a similar position. But look how the material has changed around, and now all of a sudden the material leader is yellow.
Right. I suppose it's not possible to make an illegal move, right? I guess the system will just stop you from
Yes,
doing so, or like you cannot hang your own king.
you cannot hang your own king. That is correct.
Okay. Right. Okay. Uh, Red still having a big advantage on the clock.
Yeah, but
Yellow just promoted to another
oof,
queen.
this is, oh no. You have to take king over. Oh, and it come blue promotes to the check, and it's a stalemate for red. No, it's a three-way tie. What?
Wait, so who gets the points? Do they?
Okay, I mean,
What happens now?
so this is 1 point for all three players and no points for Prathi, but that is hilarious.
Wow, none of them get 3 points.
No, they all get 1 point, but that is, I can't, it's unbelievable.
Wait, and Fahan just flagged. Like, what just happened here?
Uh, so a quick action replay of the situation here. So let's, before we hop into another game, let's explain what just happened. So with the clock situations in horrible shape, we get this position where red is checking, yellow brings in the second queen to block. We're threatening checkmate. Red brings their queen back, and queen takes the dead pawn. You have to take back or it's checkmate. Blue pushes forwards. Yellow takes. It's 38 points currently for red. They're forced into the corner. Blue promotes with check, forces the king away, and this is a well-known stalemated position for king and queen versus king. They stalemate them on 58 points. Yellow is on 58 points. Blue is on 58 points. They play a check. Now, if yellow was to move out the way and allow this capture, then that would be 1 point. But yellow has 0.8 seconds left. They realize all they have to do is flag and give blue 20 points, and it's a draw.
So this was a situation where it was better to flag than to move.
Exactly. This was a flag is the best move position.
All
Uh,
right.
but we're into another game. But that is, I will say, I've not seen a three-way tie in a
Wait, but what if they
long.
would have moved the king? The one guy takes the queen and then they recapture. Then
If
he
they
also gains a
recaptured.
point.
Correct.
Right.
But
But if he wouldn't get the recapture off, then um somebody wait, who would have won? Was it blue? Blue would have won, and yellow would have come second.
correct. Yeah. That
Okay.
is that is
Wait,
that is
wait.
why.
It seems now that the points are split. They each got 1.67. 1.67 for the tie. Yeah.
Yes. So that's and to absolutely no shock in semi-final one, we can also see that Eye of the Tiger is leading 6 versus 2, 1, and 1, right?
Yep. All right, what
I,
is going on here? The players like to bring out their queen early. Can you explain that, Jay? I mean, right now, if blue would be the move, this looks like a free queen to me.
exactly. So this goes back to what we said earlier. You want to work with the player across from you. So uh, in all the games, though, to be fair, the last one's a three-way tie. The winner has not been the player who has been checkmated, who is the opposite of the checkmated player. There have been some studies done on it by players over the years of the frequency in which people place first after their opposite player gets mated, and it is incredibly low relative to what you expect. If you're expecting 33% of the time, I forget the number, but it's a lot less, right? So that is why we are not going to be picking that queen. The reason the queens come out early is because the board is so big. The issue in regular chess, when the queen comes out early, you see it in a Scandi, you just get tempoed, right? They develop with tempo. They bring out another piece with tempo. This board is so big, it's very hard to be tempoed when your queen's set in the middle of the board.
Mhm. Yep. Indeed. All right. So let's see what is going to happen here. By the way, looking at the first semifinal, we see that Eye of the Tiger has 6 points. Is quite a lead already there. Do you see the other players catching up with him, or do you think he's just going to make it to the final?
No, no, no. I hope the Tiger is going to absolutely maul that field. I would actually be shocked if anyone wins a game that isn't I.
Hmm.
Uh, and that's I mean these are some decent players, but that's just it's the difference in caliber is insane. Like you know, it's I would liken it to a closed round robin with Magnus and 8 other 2600 GMs. I think we know the result before we go in.
Right.
Right?
And have you ever seen a three-way tie in four-player chess? Have you ever seen that?
I have witnessed it once, where I was on the losing end of the three-way tie.
Oh.
um, but so that is really quite shocking. I've seen ties for first with two players several times, but a three-way tie is almost unheard of. So that was quite the treat that we were given. And a question
Mhm.
I saw earlier regarding the arrows, the players cannot see each other's arrows. So a lot of time they're arrowing ideas either for the spectators themselves or just to help them visualize what's going to happen in the game.
Exactly. Yep. All right, so let's see what is going on in this game. Yellow is a little bit behind on time. That could definitely be a factor later on. So we'll see what is going to happen. Right now, yellow and blue have a slight lead on the clock, and we see red taking the pawn on b5. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, I don't know if maybe blue didn't have an option, but yeah, I mean, I think this makes a lot of sense. Look at that. Your queen is located very close to the blue king, so now blue has to constantly be worried about green's pieces getting involved. Suppose, for example, I will just arrow out a demonstrative line. If the green queen were to come here, nice and centralizing, well, this knight can never move because when the knight moves, there's the threat of checkmate.
Hmm.
On top of that, we can renew threats by bringing the knight in. And fortunately, the queen there covers. But if the knight was to capture, same problem, take and checkmate. So I think dropping this pawn was unfortunate, but I didn't see whether or not there was a way to prevent it.
Yeah, it seems to me that blue is being surrounded a little bit. This queen is quite close to the king. Red is diving in with this bishop as well. This knight is, coming a little bit close to that blue king over here. So I wouldn't feel that comfortable if I was blue here, and that's perhaps why they're also taking their time.
Yeah, it's understandable. Blue here has to navigate quite a critical position, i.e., how do I not lose immediately? And here we'll see a pretty common motif. We've seen blue seemingly hang their queen to attack the red queen, but that's obviously not what's happening. The green queen is here to try and prevent it from being captured.
Hmm.
Right. So after red takes, yellow will have time to do something, and then green will take. Yellow instead says, "Okay, I'm just going to sacrifice my queen on this pawn." With the very nice checkmating motif of queen takes here. So, sorry, queen takes, rook, king takes, and I think this and this is the idea.
Yeah, yellow. Green is being absolutely destroyed here. Okay, we see red taking that bishop. So who will be the player delivering the checkmate on blue is the big question. What do you? What go there?
It'll be
Wait,
red. Red
this
delivers
is a
me.
blue queen, yeah?
That's a blue queen. Um,
Right, it has to be, otherwise this would be an illegal move.
but it's somehow not checkmate yet because there's the king is escaping
Yeah.
to c4.
Oh, yeah, this bishop is defending the queen. I didn't see that. Like, it's just so far away. Right? Where does it go? I don't think it will
And
survive
now
for
it's
too much
checkmate
longer. Bishop here looks like
almost.
checkmate to me. Or, like, eh. Blue will be the first player to get checkmated. I think that we can say, yeah, and there we have the checkmate
Yeah,
delivered by red. So they get the full 20 points. That's always huge.
exactly. And this is we have to look at Red's position. They have an they had a great pawn structure for a bit, but at least have this open e file for the rooks. The they have the massive point lead. They have a good time lead. I think it looks very favorable right now for players in the red camp. You'll notice that that green and yellow traded queens here. The reason why is both those queens are worth 9 points. Red is so far ahead in points that they want to give themselves both 9 points whilst denying red a potential 18 points in the process. That's why that queen trade is done.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. So right now things are looking pretty comfortable for red. They have a lot of points. That being said, oh, and they're now pushing that pawn up the board. It's, I believe, one square away from promotion, but
Correct.
green is stopping that for now. So
I
who do you like here, Jay?
I like points and red has points. I also like safe kings and red has a safe king. I also like who has the most pawns and red has a lot of pawns. So
And red also has quite a bit of time, especially compared to yellow.
yeah, everything that could possibly be going in favor of red is going in favor of red. To just illustrate the kind of thing that I would even consider in this position, maybe not right now, but when this knight was still here, sacrificing your knight on this pawn after captures, capturing back with the bishop, just so we had never have to worry about this nice pawn chain around our king being broken.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so let's see. We see yellow really speeding up. They push the pawn up the board, but it's not going to be easy to promote it because red is
Yeah.
stopping it with both rooks.
And look, we see what's
And
happened. We've allowed this pawn push, and all of a sudden, it's a bit of a compromised position. If I'm green here, oh, I mean, we take the hanging rook, but there's plenty of reason to consider just sacrificing your rook on this bishop. I mean, it's a sacrifice; it's they're worth equal material, though it is getting later into the game. But yeah, you can imagine like, would you rather have this position or the same position with the pawns but no knight? And I think you and I can probably both agree that we'd rather not have the knight and our king not look like this.
mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so let's see what is going to happen. We see red is ahead in time, but the king looks a little bit exposed right now.
Yep.
Green can really put some pressure on red. We see yellow also looking down on the green on the red position. Not looking easy for red here.
No, red, I think, has to begin migrating their king away from this square at some point because I think it's a bit too exposed here.
Hmm.
It might actually be safer on H2 than on J1. Uh, but the time situation is, yeah, I mean, yellow has to make something happen.
Yeah,
Uh,
they're really gonna have to speed up. So I guess overall, although green also doesn't have that many pieces left anymore.
that's correct. But if we were to remove yellow from the board immediately, I think we can probably confidently say that. Oh, actually, maybe. Oh, it depends on who moved. If green got to move after yellow got removed from the board, I'd say green has an advantage. But if it was red to move, then red is winning. But
In the
yeah,
meantime, yellow managed to promote two queens. That's why these queens have a 1 on them. If you capture them, you only gain 1 point, not 9. We see green offering the trade of queens, and yellow goes for it.
exactly. The queen trade is probably not something that yellow wanted to do, but no, they're kind of forced into doing it. So now I think we have to see a similar technique that was deployed last
Wait,
time.
the red just hung this pawn over here. That seemed like a mistake to me. Now our king is in a bit of danger, but they move it over here. Let's see how long it will be safe.
Yeah, so red has one thing going from this position. Now yellow's time. Yellow has to be very careful here because it looks like green is winning if yellow messes up. Oh wow. We're that is not a comfortable king for green.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Fortunately, as long as diagonal remains open, green is fine and red is able to
Ooh.
promote.
Yeah, red just got another queen. This queen is now getting pushed away. And yellow, in the meantime, is also pushing for another queen, as the spawn is pretty close at this point.
Yeah, and funnily enough, that queen was trapped. That queen after the rook got down because of the red pawn. The queen could not escape.
Mm-hmm. All right, red putting the queen here, stopping yellow from promoting, but here comes yellow with another pawn.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it's a tough
red
one.
threatening checkmate, but green sees it. Oh, we see yellow promoting, but that queen can be taken.
It yeah. So yellow is
Why did he
saying
not
green. You
take?
well, no, because green checks red, right? That's what he was. Yellow was saying you have to let me promote. That was his whole argument there. But now yellow
We
has two
s-
queens, and it's less of a less of a good argument. Although he just lost
oh,
one.
okay, the players are moving super quickly now. This red king pretty exposed. That's why he moves his queen into defend. Maybe now a queen down here or like a bishop check looks really nasty.
Yep, and he's setting up the pin.
Oh, that's an important pawn to
Ooh.
drop right there. That was very nicely set up by green.
Oh, the pin is there. Oh, he
Ooh,
steps out.
these bishops are powerful, and ooh, that queen doing some damage to the red king as well. But yellow solo on time.
It's just very hard to navigate. It's a time scramble, and these can really come down to anything. It's almost impossible to follow
Yeah.
when this happens. I'm always very impressed by the players, to keep up. I think Green realized putting their king in that corner with the bishop staring down is maybe not the best idea. Uh,
Yeah, we see yellow walking down to the dead blue position over here to be safe. But okay, red also getting super low on
ooh,
time.
and it's checkmate.
Ooh, wow, and red got checkmated by green. So green gains a
Exactly.
full 20 points there.
Just trade the queens, take the bishop.
This
Just
should be a win for
yeah.
green, and it is. So green wins this one. He gets the full 3 points.
It's gangster
And
H
then,
again.
yep, and we see Vahan and Rahito getting 1 point and Pratu getting 0.
Yeah, that's surprising, but I mean, just an incredible display, and Gangster really showing why in this time format he's rated 3100,
Yep.
which is given the small player pool for the four-player variant. Just, I mean, it just really shows what a monster.
Yep. So it's looking pretty good for Odd Loud Gangster, who moves to 7.67. And Rahito and Vahan are duking it out for second place. Anything can still happen there. At this point, it's looking pretty. Yeah, I think Odd Loud Gangster is going to make it to the final, but it's a fight between Rahito and Vahan. Pratu is going to have to win a game at some point to come back. And wow, in semifinal one, it's just Eye of the Tiger, as you expected, as you predicted, crushing it.
Yep.
Maybe Winsby can squeeze by in second place.
Yeah, I think that's the most likely scenario because he's the only like dedicated player. We also saw the pawn jump two forwards here. For those wondering, you can capture on passant like this. Obviously, in the particular situation you're in, not a great idea because it hangs the rook, but something to note.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So let's see. The players bring out their queens early again. Okay, so these are staring off in the middle of the board. Can one
Yeah.
player not take the other queen?
Again, same thing. Opposite players, we don't want to take each other's queens. But one of the things we always tell people when they're starting out, the queens, we say they're holding hands. They see each other, and uh, in the two central squares, we talk about controlling the middle. These queens see everything. They're threatening checkmates left, right, and center. If either of these pieces in front of the king move, then the double check threat is a real thing.
I remember this in let's say 4 player chess doubles. This is a strategy where you put the queens in the middle, and then you take here, and you take here, and then it's checkmate. Right?
Yeah,
It's a very common strategy.
exactly. So that is why we see the queens, put themselves harmoniously. Normally, they don't allow such positions to occur, red and yellow, given they're acting first. However, in this case, red yellow didn't take the center of the board, and so blue green have obliged and said, "Thank you very much. I will have the center."
Mm-hmm. We see red in the meantime pushing up this pawn, hitting the knight over here, although I'm not sure you actually want to take, as it will leave your own rook hanging on It's weird to call this K1. I'm used to calling this square H1, but you would hang your rook on K1.
Yep.
So therefore, red is thinking. I don't think it's a good idea to take that knight and leave your own rook hanging.
It is certainly a bad idea, especially based on where the red bishop was. Now, if the bishop was on I1 still, this capture is potentially lethal because yes, you lose the rook, but the following turn, this pawn captures with check. So with the double check here, the king would be forced over. After which, queen down check with this promotion, for example, is checkmate. So there are scenarios where this is an issue, but fortunately for green, the red bishop has been developed, so the rook capture would come with a check.
Yep. So green stepped their queen back, stepping out of the diagonal of the bishop. One thing we see almost every player do is moving up the pawn in front of their king one square, I guess just to block all of these diagonals, make sure that this pawn is safe, this pawn is safe, and that their king, just in case, there's a little breathing room in case you need it. And
Exactly.
also, it seems to be quite popular to push the rook pawn up the board. What do you make of that, Jay?
Yeah, it's a classic example of sort of both taking space on the king side. You know, your king is obviously the most important part of the in the game, and you would much rather there not be too many things that aren't yours around it. Good way of doing that is doing that, but also as we see, it closes off the diagonal, right? And here we have a suggestion for a sacrifice by on that pawn, but I think that might be a bit of an ambitious ask
Hmm.
uh, here. But this is a good idea of a threat, moving the queen away to attack the red knight. Now this is interesting. He's moved the queen away, but I don't know if that's necessarily the best square for it. Okay, fine.
Yep.
We get the queen trade. We win a knight.
Okay, so let's see what is going on. Currently, green has a lead in points. Do you also like green's wait, green lost their queen, yeah? So that's not good.
Yeah, I don't love Green's decision to move their knight backwards. And you can see Green arrow spamming makes me think that Green is probably is well almost certainly Gangster H, or sorry, Outlawed Gangster. Forgive me if I keep using his name, one of his other names. It's sort of it's hardwired into me, so I might, if I ever say gang or gangster or Gangster H, I'm referring to Outlawed Gangster. Um,
Hmm.
but generally speaking, moving pieces backwards is not what we want to see from the player across from us. We want to see them, hey, you've lost your queen, but you can still support me. Not, hey, you've lost your queen and you're just bringing them all into a ball around your king and I'm going to die.
Yep.
Um,
No. All right, so that's an interesting strategy. You want to help the player across from you. Okay, so let's see what is going on. We see that green, no, sorry, red has really fallen behind on time, and they also don't have a lot of pieces left. By the way, didn't they just hang? I guess they did hang their own bishop, but yellow shouldn't be too interested in taking that, right?
exactly. The yellow definitely should not be. Unless yellow suspects that red is outlawed gangster, in which point
Mm-hmm.
all bets are off. Uh,
Yep.
due to the tournament situation. Now,
Right.
blue is obviously was threatening to take the pawn, but yellow makes a very smart move. The whole idea being that if blue takes this pawn on d2, yellow can sacrifice their queen to allow the capture of both the rook and the blue queen by red.
Right. Okay, so let's see what is going on. Red just moved their bishop over here, hitting the rook. Ooh, this queen dives in, hitting the rook over here, which seems a little awkward to defend.
Yes, with we've got green to move, so they had to take the knight because the knight was threatening check. Green here, I think, has pretty clear move. Yes, precisely. We pushed the pawn. He should have pushed it one, I think, over two. He's decided two, but green now pushes with check, and there is not quite checkmate yet, but it's looking pretty bad for yellow. And
Yep.
I don't think there's anything that red can do. I think the best thing for red in this position is simply to move the knight back and collect the 9 points of yellow's queen. I think it's time to say goodbye to the chances.
They move the bishop here instead. In the meantime, green takes another piece over here. Sorry, blue takes. Green dives in with a check. This yellow king is really starting to get surrounded. This knight can jump in as well. But perhaps the king may not be too unsafe for now if it moves up one square.
No, I don't think. Well, obviously, we'd rather it not be not be this centralized of a knight of a king, but yeah, it's looking pretty bad for yellow. Yes, they still have their queen. Oh wow. Okay, so he just decides. That's very surprising. Blue decides instead of protecting his own position, he is just going to pick up the rook, allow green to lose their bishop. I think this is a big strategic mistake because now there's serious chances for yellow to start doing something again.
Hmm. All right, let's see. One idea I see for yellow is perhaps to try to come in with our queen at this square. Oh no, wait, that would hang the queen.
But it would
I mean,
hang
in
it to red,
case,
so we don't mind.
right? Okay, and we see better this yellow arrow is what yellow is pointing out. So let's see if they will go for that move to try to go after the green king.
It
In the
also threatens
meantime,
checkmate on blue. So it's not just attacking green, defending a check.
mm,
It's threatening mate. It is the best square for that queen. And I bet you right now, you know, blue is deservedly in a lot of trouble. And I think green can quite happily decide to say, I'm sorry, blue, you're on your own. You let my bishop hang, you let my most active piece go to grab 5 points for a rook, and now you're suffering as a result.
right. So you're saying blue should not have taken that rook and really kept the attack going on the yellow king. I guess also, since now the attack on the yellow king is gone, at least for now, yellow has his hands free to create counterplay again.
Exactly, because there's no way for green to really do anything without sacrificing another piece in that position for a check. But blue now has to deal with the attack. And look at this rook of reds; it's ready to rock up the board.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
big
an.
problem Blue's gonna have to deal
Mhm.
with, and here we go immediately, rook d4, and yeah, I mean, blue is just has got to be kicking themselves. They let the greed get ahead of them, and their king was not safe, and they are being punished accordingly.
Yep, they take this pawn over here, hitting the knight, and over here. Let's see what's gonna happen in the meantime. Wait, who is thinking? Oh, it's yellow. Yellow's thinking right now. They move the queen back to defend the knight over here.
Yeah, that's good. Not only defends the knight, but gets it away from being tempoed by green, and now what do you even do in this position? I think Blue is sort of realizing the issue here. He sacrifices. I think that was kind of expected, but it's a maybe too little, too late now.
Okay, so he moves his king out of the way. The king, is kind of on its own, but he can move the bishop here, maybe king here, and it might not be too unsafe. So perhaps he
Uh,
can hang on for a bit
Unfortunately,
longer.
here yellow speaking way too long. He should have just pushed this pawn here. The idea being that this is a check when the king comes here, followed by some rook captures. So
Mm,
there are lots of problems here. But green is very understandably being just chilling in a corner. I have 2 minutes. You guys are all on 1 minute or less. Uh,
yeah.
I'm just gonna sit here and move my pieces around.
Yeah, I guess green is just trying to survive. Maybe he's going to try to push this pawn up the board and try to flag the other guys because yellow is so low on time.
Oh yeah, like I think at this sort of critical juncture, I would not fancy yellow's time position. Like it's not obviously it's not uncommon to we've seen people with low time perform quite well, but this is perhaps too low given the complexity of the situation on the board.
Yep. Okay, we see green pushing up another pawn. I believe he can now promote one of these. Oh, no, he still needs one more step.
Yeah. And that
Um,
oh wow that you're sorely missing that light squared bishop here. that knight is trying to come in, and there was a real checkmate threat there. Red was threatening to play rook here, and queen here would have been delivered mate on green. So this knight move was forced.
Yeah, we see green getting a queen, but that could be taken by this blue pawn over here.
Yeah,
But blue decides not to take. Wait, why not?
because it's his opposite, right? So he's not interested in attacking the player across from him. The
Oh,
usual
okay.
usual jargon.
Yep.
However, it's just going to be hard to figure out what's going on here. However, this leaving here, I think there's a mate here. They decide not to go. Well, red decided not to go for it with the knight check. Red instead takes the blue queen. It makes sense. Uh,
I
green is
have
not
I
happy.
have no idea what's going on, and then green also drew all those arrows across the board. Anyway, we have a very interesting situation. We see that red has a tiny lead in points, but he doesn't have a whole lot of time. Yellow doesn't have a whole lot of time. Green has some of the least points, but he has a lot of time. So
But
if he
look,
times everyone out, maybe he can win the game.
wow! And he just said screw it. I was about to say he has loads of time, but look at where that yellow king was. I mean, that green was just truly tied up in the position.
Yep. Yellow only 6.3 seconds. He gets
Yeah,
another queen though,
there's
but he's
nothing.
gonna have
No,
to pre-move now until the end of the game.
yeah, I think that's the problem. Now, what I'm really just shocked at is how blue has been allowed to survive in this game, and they seem to have serious chances now. So now the opposite cooperation is kind of like off the board. I would say it's
Uh-huh.
not really there.
It's just a free for all. They're just
Oh,
trying to
and
move as quickly as.
yellow has decided that green is gangster H, I think, and just decided I'm going to take that piece. Like I'm
Uh-huh.
not winning this game, I'm losing. So his main thing there is like, okay, who do I think is who?
Okay, interesting dynamic here. Yellow only has 1.3 seconds. Green still has oceans of time, but it just got checkmated.
By yellow, that's incredible. Oh, but I mean, I just don't see how.
Oh, now
Oh, I
yellow
think, and
is.
they're
Ooh,
correct. I think green was gangster H.
okay, the yellow king is now on its own. Um, okay, yellow just timed. Okay, wait, he timed out, but the king is moving randomly. Yeah, so if the king gets captured, it can still gain a full 20 points.
Correct. Oh, that looks oof. Oh no! Oh, and he took the wrong piece. The queen was hanging. Oh, and red wins, and it's Vahan. That's a huge win for
That's a huge win for
Charter.
Vahan, picking up 3 points. We see Prato and Rojito picking up one, and Oddloud only doesn't pick up any points, so this makes it pretty close in the standings.
Exactly. But with at most probably 2 games left. And I'd like to throw a little look over to the other game in terms of the scores, and we see that the Tiger is on his 4th consecutive win. Uh, uh, so I think that one is nicely settled up, and it looks like Winsby is slowly but surely eking out 1 point each game. Uh,
Hmm.
accepted his place of playing for second.
Right. Okay, so let's see what is going to happen. Yeah, it's super close in semifinal two. In semifinal one, it's Aya the Tiger just crushing it with 12 points. Winsby right now is looking best to squeeze by in second place. He has 4 points, and Kugel Rundi and Joshua having two. But in semifinal two, it's all out with 7.67. And then Fahan and Rahito, 5 and 4.67. They're really duking it out. Pratu right now is a little too far behind. He's gonna have to win one of them.
Yeah, I think I said he was the. It's crazy to say that he was the weakest of the 4 because if he was in the other semi-final, I think he would have knocked at least one win. But yeah, he needs to win this game. Like this must.
Hmm.
If he doesn't win this game, he's out. Right.
Yep.
But but with Vahan and Rahito, it's really close. Two OGs of the game. But I think we can pretty safely assume that Gang is going to be the one to pull through and win and win the group, or at least I think a top two is quite likely. It's very hard. I think Varhan would have to win. I don't even know how it's possible.
Yeah. After this game, there will probably be one more.
Yeah,
So I think if Prato wants to have a chance, he needs to win this one, and
Prato
even
needs to win
then,
two in a row. I think.
probably something like that. He probably needs to win like two in a row. Yeah. Yeah, I
Uh,
think he needs to win the last two. Have a chance.
and I think, yeah, Gang. I actually don't. I don't think there's a way for it. I don't mathematically think that. I don't know how the tie breaks are done again, but I think given it's based on first places, I don't think it's mathematically possible for Gang to not qualify with only two games because if Varhan wins, Rahito wins, and Gangster gets last both times, he's still tied for second, and then he should win on tie breaks. So I think his spot is secure now. So really,
Yeah.
it is Varhan or Rahito.
Yeah, I mean, it's really yeah. Long story short, it's between Vahan and Rahito. They're really duking it out for second place. Anything can happen there. I guess if they just avoid coming in fourth twice, they should have a pretty decent chance. I think. Although
Yeah,
if one of them wins one game, they'll if one of them wins one game, they'll put them in a really good spot.
exactly. For the people asking how the 0.67 score was possible, we had one of the rarest occurrences in four-player chess. One I've, having played 10,000 plus games, have only seen off the top of my head once, which was a three-way tie in an FFA game for
Yep.
first, second, third.
Yep. After that tie, we weren't sure what to do with the points. But we asked some random kid, and he said, "Oh, just give them 1.67," and that's what we did.
Exactly. Flopping back to the position, Red all of a sudden is looking a little bit sad with this queen just chilling on his back rank. I
Mhm.
don't quite know how to this. Who said, "Screw it, I'm gonna take this pawn," and there's just so many threats here. I don't know if the strongest move here is for yellow to sacrifice their queen. Uh, Everything seems to be a nightmare. I think blue and green are the happiest right now. I think they're the safest. Yellow, I think can probably survive this, but I guess it's a question of the most effective way of doing so.
Yeah, I would say this does not look good for red, right? I mean, this knight's under attack. I think you're just getting, you know, um, blue is just applying like the vacuum cleaner. You're picking up the knight, picking up the bishop. I'm not quite sure what you can do about it. So who do you think is playing with red here? Like they're in big trouble.
Yeah, red is problematic. I think this rook. I don't know how. It's always funny to see how the rook got all the way over there. I'm not certain who red is, but I don't think it's Prathi. But I
Mhm.
didn't have enough attention to the middle of the game. Red is going for the checkmate threat. Of course, it hangs there. Well, if you can see, green is arrowing what we should expect here. The rook
Okay.
sacrifice.
In the meantime, it seems to me that blue is delaying taking this knight. Why is that?
Hmm. Well, the reason for taking the knight.
Yeah, why is
Sorry,
he not taking the knight?
why is blue not taking the knight? I think the simple thing is one of those positions where you can capture that at any point in time, right?
Hmm.
And that knight can't move because if that knight moves, it's checkmate, right? So I think blue is just saying, I have bigger fish to fry. Let me deal with what's happening in the rest of the board, and then I'll come back and mop up mop up this knight. This knight's not moving.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and I can't go anywhere anyway, so he just wants to pick it up later. Okay, so let's see. We see that yellow is thinking. How things are also not looking great for yellow, I think. I
Oof.
mean, w- or what do you think about this green king actually all of a sudden over here?
I think it looks unfortunate because there's mate on board for yellow, which he should deliver. It costs the queen, but oh, he went for that one, of course. That makes more sense. Uh,
Yeah,
it forces a queen trade as opposed to costing a whole queen. He says no, I'm not going to do that. But is this potentially a blunder? Because if there's a checkmate here and yellow's looking for it, he's fortunate there is not a mate here, right?
I don't think so. No, queen
Uh,
here looked tempting, but the king can still step up. And that's what he does.
and
Oh,
he
but
allows a
now,
mate.
oh, because of this bishop. Wow, that's a nice checkmate. Okay.
That is very very nice. Yellow assisting with the mate, and now yellow's realizing this game is lost. So depending on how quick this game is, we might actually have time for a third game.
Yep.
So, however, I do think Prathu was green and got checkmated, so that means it's problematic. Now, if Varhan is blue, it makes the most sense for him to make this game last as long as possible. So let's see what happens here. But I don't see any way. You have to construct some kind of mating. Now, oh no, Varhan is not. Varhan was red. That means Rahito and Gangster are battling it out
Sorry, Rojito and Gangster are bailing it out?
currently. Yep.
Okay, so let's see. So right now, wait, so sorry, who was green?
Green was Prathu and red
Okay,
was Varhan.
so Prato gets 0. It's very okay. Here we have the
Uh
final standings. We see
yellow
Gangster
yellow
getting
is Rahito.
another Gangster getting another 3 points. I think he's pretty much qualified at this point. We see
Yes.
Rojito and Vahan picking a 1. So it remains very close between Vahan and Rojito. But I mean, if they maintain the status quo, you gotta like Vahan's chances. He just needs to finish in second or third place as long as Rojito doesn't win.
Exactly. But there is time now. There are guaranteed two more games. So it's not over. Obviously, it's over in terms of competing for first, but I think that will be Gangster. This is fairly expected, but it's certainly not over in terms of who can clinch it. But I do think a win from either Vahan or Ito will be decisive. So that's definitely what they're competing for. And at this point, if I am Gang, I am thinking to myself, who would I rather face in a final, Vahan or Rahito? Because I am now in a position where I can potentially control that. I am not at risk of losing. So
Yeah.
perhaps I can try and force through the player that I want to if I'm in a position where I have to choose who wins. And I think if Gangster has that option, he's going to force through Vahan. I reckon he sees Rahito as a bigger threat, which is fair, as much as I'm sure Vahan will kill me for saying that. Uh,
Yeah, Rojito is really a variance expert. I see him in all of these variance tournaments. So Vahan also, of course, really good player. But I guess you're the expert here, so I guess we trust you.
yes, I think he would definitely want Vahan through. Just a little bit slower and a little bit, I'd say, a little bit weaker.
Okay, so let's see. We see red diving in with the queen here. Are they creating any threats towards this king? Can this queen be taken? What is going on here, Jay?
Well, I think in this particular case, it's just a queen trade, and Red's like, I just don't want to deal with having a queen. And okay, he's
Wait, but he
decided.
just hung his rook.
I think that was a pre-move. Um, that was that is that
Wait,
was
what?
unfortunate. Yeah,
What?
blue just has
What?
to block. Blue has to play queen blocks. I guess that makes sense, but now he's relying on blue to save them. And if blue is trying to figure out who green is, then
Oh,
there's no
so green
guarantee.
had a choice. Yeah, either he wanted to save blue. Sorry, blue had a choice. Yeah, whether he wanted to save green, and he was like, "Nope, you're on your own, buddy," and he just hung the rook over there. Okay.
Yeah, and now after well, fortunately for him, knight takes is not an option because of the queen
Oh.
X-raying through and attacking that rook in the corner on K14.
Mhm.
Uh, but in fact, I don't know if they'd want to do that. I guess there's some tactical resource here with bishop takes c6 if knight takes, but instead we're saying no, we're just going to block the diagonal first, then we're going to go after it.
Alright, so let's see. Okay, so right now red has a lead in points, but they don't have a lot of pieces left. Things do not look great for green, at
Yeah.
least to me, especially if this bishop comes down, takes a spawn over here, which yellow is for sure looking to do on the next turn. So it's again a
Wow.
question whether blue defends green. And he
And
says
blue
no. He says
blue
no.
plays rook a4. Just
It doesn't do
the most
anything.
passive move in the position. He said, "Green, you are dunzos, my friend. You are gone."
Wow. So does blue suspect, could blue be outlawed, and could he suspect that green is someone he wants to lose? Could that be a
I
thing?
it very much could be. Alternatively, I mean, at this point, they might be incorrectly judging that if Gang is green, we want him to get fourth, but that's not what the game plan should be now. Gang is through. That is not debatable, so you need to figure out who the other players are. So let's see what's gonna happen here. But I think with the green king in such an unfortunate position, checkmate is inevitable on green.
Yep.
So
The big question is though, who is going to pick up the checkmate? We see yellow having quite a few pieces around that green king. Red also joining into the fray with knight here.
yeah, precisely,
Ju-
mate in
It's
one,
just
big
checkmate.
threat.
Yeah.
That bishop must move, as long as okay, nice. I like this by yellow. He's herding the king back towards his own pieces, saying, "Hey, you want to checkmate? That's fine." But checkmate by and he just does that instead. Allows the checkmate for blue. We
Wait, so
have
blue got the checkmate, yeah?
correct. He's played queen takes bishop, queen takes knight. I mean, and the point was it cut the diagonal. This was the only escape square for the green
Yep.
king, and so yeah, green, and so blue said, "Screw it, goodbye, queen. Hello, 23 points."
Yeah, so it did give him his queen in the process, but you think it was worth it because he got the checkmate?
Yeah, I think the giving up a queen for a checkmate is almost always correct in the
Okay.
four-player stage.
Yep.
People will give up queens to checkmate without even getting the checkmate, for example. So to get the checkmate as well is a nice plus.
Right.
Uh,
Okay, so we see right now that green has a lead in points, yellow not too far behind. And red is quite far behind. Okay, so whose chances do you like here, Jay?
I am quite fond of the red position because that king, once it's able to cross over, is very safe.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that blue bishop is saying no, thank you for now.
Yep. And can you tell who any of the players are? Do you think like
Blue
can
is,
you
I
tell?
think, blue. I'm pretty sure is gang. Um,
Uh-huh.
Green, I'm maybe. I think it might be Rojito,
Uh-huh.
but again, red structure is very lovely. So part of me wants to say it's. Part of me wants to say red is Rojito, but I'm not certain.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll just have to wait for the and then yellow, any ideas?
Yellow, maybe Prathu.
Okay.
I have to say, probably, but I mean, he's not lost, so that's definitely a victory for him there. Uh,
Yep.
now we need
Although
to
it seems like Pra 2 is out anyway. I don't see him catching up. It really is probably going to be between Vahan and Rojito.
and we have confirmation that Rojito was in fact green. So
Oh,
that basically spells the end of the story. The only way to keep this really interesting is if Prathu wins, and then we get to a position where Prathu is on 5, Rojito is on 6 and 2/3, Vahan is on no, so it's 5 and 2/3. Vahan is on 6 and 2/3.
yep.
Right. And blue, as we said, I think his gang and correctly realized that Rahito was his opposite and thus decided not to save him.
Uh-huh. Well,
That is my assessment. Whether it's correct or
yeah.
not, it remains to be seen.
So that makes it pretty tough for Rahito. I mean, Vahan is going to take either a 2 point or maybe even a 4 point lead going into the final game. If he takes a 4 point lead, it will be over right away. If it will be a 2 point lead, the only way for Rahito to catch him is to win the final game.
Correct. It is a must-win situation for Rahito unless Varhan wins. If Varhan wins, it's all she wrote, unless there's an incredibly quick game. But I feel this is feel like
Mhm.
this is unlikely to be the case. So with that in mind, I am facing yellow as Prathu, Varhan as red, and blue as gangster. And I really like red's position, so I fear for the chances of red. Fear for the chances of Rahito, I should say.
Yep.
Funny, another note to be made: I have the Tiger on 5 consecutive wins, with 50 points, and Winsby just quietly mopping up 1 point at a time. Happy with the
Yeah.
second slash third places.
Yeah. So looking really difficult for anyone to catch Winsby. I mean, Kugel or Joshua is going to have to win the last game. That is their only way to catch Winsby. Otherwise, if Winsby just he's just gonna advance. Okay, so looking at this board right here, Jay, we see that blue has a lead on the clock, quite a significant one. I think they're doing okay on the board. In the meantime, yellow and red have both dipped below 1 minute. What do you make of this position?
I am very, very, very in favor of red's position. I think. I mean, the point situation still massively favors blue, along with the time. But
Hmm.
from a purely structural standpoint, I would take red any day. But in terms of most likely to win, I think I think it's probably. Oh wow, he took with the queen. Was that forced? You not take with the king? Decide to hang the
Ooh.
house. Interesting.
We see that blue is really getting sandwiched here by these two rooks coming down. This does not look good. She,
No, but yellow is certainly pressing here because look at those pawns. They're on the brink of promotion.
yep, yellow by the way also has this queen over here that they can bring in any moment to join the attack. So things not looking good for blue, but as you guys suspect, blue is probably gangster, so he probably doesn't care too much.
And look at this lovely blockade on the light squares here set up by red. There's a very, very unhappy. How do we push these pawns forwards as yellow? And I think blue is just going to sit there chilling around. And there we go. You're going to push a pawn to promote. Okay, I will do the same, but mine's going to temper your queen.
Oh, you see red promoting, and he got a queen there, so that's a full 9 points. Oh, blue's
Indeed.
queen just
Two,
got
oh wow,
lost.
okay, just
Oh,
that's
he just
just
gave up a
a
pawn.
surprising capture here. I think now we're going to see red swing that rook back over.
Okay, so what do you make of this current situation? Blue is ahead. Oh, blue, by the way, turning checkmate on one, but yellow, of course, sees it. But blue ahead in points. No, wait,
Yeah,
sorry.
no, no,
And on time,
blue is gonna. I think is going to pretty handily win this. Uh,
simply because of the clock, yeah?
Dude, the clock is just dire. Red is gonna have to pre-move real quick. Oh, that's annoying. You have to take that. Oh, he's not even taking the blue queen. Okay, fine.
Yeah, that's surprising to me.
We're just gonna stop promotion. Sacrifice, and yeah, I think that's game over. Oh, he lets him keep it. That is surprising.
See yellow getting another queen.
Oh,
Yep,
is there a
has
mate here?
so much time.
Oof.
Wait, mate for who? Against
Oh,
who?
I think a moment ago when there was a check, I thought there might have been a mate on blue, but it all passed
Oh.
by so quickly.
Yeah, oh, okay. He steps up with a king that looks kind of risky to me. He's still kind of safe for now.
Oh yeah, I mean the only thing you got to say is like at least there's one person who doesn't have to worry about their king, and that is red.
Yeah, this king is pretty safe over here. And about two knights. We see blue bring their king over here. Do you think it's safe?
Ooh, and he hangs it.
Wait, what is he? Yeah, is it?
Oh, okay, fine. He's just deciding,
Okay.
screw it, I'm gonna send it. This is a surprise. But the two knights are certainly strong, but I think this is just gonna be I would sacrifice as yellow. You just oh wow, you just sacrificed on that pawn, I think. I
Wait, why did he not go after the blue king? The blue king was about to get checkmated.
I think low on time, he has to care more about making sure that red has no winning chances.
Hmm.
But red is gonna flag, so
Okay, so red flags, and he checkmates blue. So the winner of this game is
it's
Pratu.
Pratu!
So he gets a
Okay.
full three
Okay.
points. We see Gangster getting one, Vahan getting one, and Rahito is 0. So
Alright.
Pratu all of a sudden is making a comeback in this semifinal.
Okay, 4 out of 4. I'm glad I got those ones right. Prather is yellow. Valhalla is red, green, yellow is Rojito, green is Rojito, and blue is Gang. So
Okay, so
yeah,
here
the
we have our
final
updated
game.
standings. Gangster is through with 11.67. Then we have Vahan in second place. Rahito 2 points behind, and Pratu 2.67 points behind. Can Pratu still qualify? Can
He,
he?
he
I guess he
can
can, yeah?
he can still qualify. The situation must be that
He
Prathu
wins.
wins, Varhan gets fourth, and Rojito is second slash third,
Okay.
along with Gangster H. That's his only win condition. Varhan simply just needs to put anything on the board, I think, to win.
Yeah.
And Rojito needs a first, and I think he needs Varhan in fourth.
Well,
But
if
I don't know about the
Vahan
tiebreak.
gets second and Rahito gets first, then we have a tie for second. What happens in that case, Jay?
That I believe the tie breaks are done by the number of first places, followed by the number of fourth places.
Hmm.
So we will have to see where that lands it. But I haven't got the exact details broken down on how the potential tie breaks. So we will see as it goes on whether or not we are required to check in on that. But I think the overwhelming likelihood is that we won't have to worry about this, and Vahan puts it up. But who knows? Wouldn't it be quite something to see Prathy come around and just sweep in the one situation where there's a win? And green is Gangster H with those kind of arrows.
Okay, so in green is Gangster HR.
Yeah, no one draws arrows like that apart from him.
Okay, so what will be Gangster's H strategy in this game? Where you think he doesn't care too much, or what kind of strategy does he have in this final game?
I think his strategy should be to just pick who he would again. Which player does he want to come through with him? That's his choice, and then he has to figure out who they are, and then there he goes. So I think in pretty much all these scenarios, it ends poorly for Rito. But also,
Hmm.
Gangster might just not care, and then and
Hmm.
then and then who knows what's going to happen.
And then who do you think is Rahito in this final game?
I think they're all going to be trying very well hard to disguise themselves. I want to say that it is probably yellow or blue. I think it's between yellow and blue. I'm not certain though.
Okay, I see. But yeah, this is okay. The timer's about to run out. When it does, this will be officially the last game. No more
Right.
games will be played after this, and
And I like to
so
make a crazy claim that the semi-final one will tie up with points of 18, 6, 4, and 2. That is my prediction without seeing the game. But
yeah, I have the Tigers been crushing it there. Yeah, and do you think Winsby had the better strategy of the other two, like just to somehow finish in second or third place every game? What do you think he did differently?
I think there's a very good chance he simply just played for not last every game.
And
Um,
how do you do that?
how do you do that? You basically every time you can checkmate the a player opposite you, you just do it. Like like
Uh-huh.
it screws your winning chances, but you don't care because
Ah,
and the
right.
way he
You make
justifies
sure
it,
you don't get last.
yeah, the way he justifies it is that either Tiger is not going to be in a position where he gets checkmated, right? Like
Uh-huh.
so, so if his opponent can get mated by his opposite, he knows it's not Eye of the Tiger, and so he can just
Uh-huh.
happily do it. I think I think that's the thought process, but maybe not.
Okay, so if he can beat the player across of him, he's gonna do it 100% of the time.
Yeah, if he gets the option, he's just gonna take it.
Okay.
If I was in the same lobby with I probably wouldn't do the same. I think it'd be a bit more competitive, but I think if I was Winsby in Winsby's position, then I would do the same thing.
Yeah, well, it's working out for him. He's in a great spot to make it to the final. So, we gotta give credit where credit's due. In the meantime, what is going on here, Jay? We see the players have brought out their queens. It's chaos all across the board. Who do you like here?
So this one is I like whoever has the most time because you'll notice that because it's the last game and everyone knows everything that is required for them to win, no one is taking any risks, right? Everyone's playing a very slow and positional type game. No one's feeling tactical. Remember the first game was fireworks, pieces flying left, right, center, everywhere. This game is all about the slow maneuvering of the pieces. I dislike Yellow's decision to castle. We've discussed this earlier, but when castling occurs and this break is allowed, there are some serious problems that could occur in a position. If Gang is green, which I suspect, then we just don't care about cast. It literally doesn't matter, right? He can do what he wants, right? Um,
Uh-huh.
so I think it'll be interesting, but I don't know anyone who I like particularly. A common thing we see some players do is sacrifice his bishop for the knight to just lock up the pawn structure on the king side. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes accompanied by replacing that bishop with your queen and treating it like a glorified bishop.
Right. And we see that Red is falling quite far behind on time. He is the only player below 2 minutes, whereas
Yeah,
the other players all have like, almost a minute more.
Varhan for sure.
Okay. All right. We see, by the way, Yellow is setting up Elakine's gun with a rook and queen here. What do you make of that setup?
uh, I think he just obviously just wants to pressure blue a bit. But I mean, it's hard to find other useful squares for his pieces right now. So I think he's just saying, I'm just going to centralize them all, control a bit more of the middle, and then we'll see what happens from there. To
Mm-hmm.
answer a question that I saw someone about asking whether casting is safe or not, casting in general is considered unsafe, uh, specifically for the reasons that pawn breaks can occur in this setup. And also, boxing your king in is only good when it's really hard to attack because you're defending from two players. What you will see happen is when this break is still available, players will leave their rook on this square in the corner. We're looking at yellow here, of course, and they will just bring their king over one by one and sit it here with a rook here. So the way I would improve my position as yellow right now is instead of doing all these potentially active plays, I'd play my king up, I'd bring my rook over, I'd bring my king back down, and I'd bring the other rook and just sit.
Sit in the castle. Yep.
Exactly.
All right, nice. In the meantime, ooh, by the way, this red king is being surrounded by these queens, so doesn't feel too safe over here.
Yeah, no, red is not loving it, so he's creating a little bit of luft for his king. King gonna be able to run away to I2 if he needs to. Um, Blue is relatively safe there, I think. Maybe a little bit safer if you wish. Well, actually, I don't know how you'd improve the safety, but instead we're just we're setting up some threats here on
Hmm.
blue. The discovery now, the knight discovery comes with an attack from the yellow rook.
This looks tough for red. I feel like red is really getting picked apart. Now, yellow can take this queen over here, but they decide not to do that. Or I guess because red is there.
Exactly.
Ooh, okay, but this is the final game, right? So you still want to protect the player from red.
It depends on who the players are. So it's going to make a big difference. If yellow thinks that red is a direct threat to their chances at qualifying, then they will just potentially just make them outright. But they're definitely at first thinking about who's gangster because once they figure out who gangster is, it's not too important to get rid of him
Uh-huh.
for their perspectives.
Okay, so we think that green is gangster. We think that red is Fahan.
Yeah.
Then who is blue and who is yellow?
I want to say blue Prathu and yellow
Mhm.
Rohito.
Uh-huh. But then Rahito should have been
Oh,
interested in
maybe
taking
I
out Vahan, no? Or
maybe I've changed my mind, but I thought the arrows were indicating Rohito otherwise, but I've never seen arrows appear with such speed and not be gang. So
uh-huh.
I'm actually a bit lost. So let's. I'm gonna change my opinion and say that gang might be yellow, but it's not clear to me.
Yeah. We'll have to find out later. Okay, so let's see what is gonna happen.
Green is
Um,
chilling, very nice and safe. Um, Blue, on the other hand, I mean, blue is relatively safe. It's only red who has got to be thinking to themselves, "I do not like my position," and I. Oh, okay. Is it okay? It's red to me. Fine. And blue to move now. You have to move your queen, obviously, out of being attacked by the green bishop. And again, if I'm green, I'm with this with my queen fairly safe. I care much more about going after these pawns and securing the safety of my king than I do anything else right now.
yeah. Yeah, I guess pawns are pretty important in four-player chess because you can always push them off the board, get another queen, and do a lot of damage with that new piece, yeah?
Exactly. And one thing you'll see a lot of players end up doing is they promote a pawn, immediately sacrifice it for a bishop or rook, and then they go get another pawn because those 5 points mean a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Exactly.
Blue is looking pretty much like it's the end here. And as you've noticed, as we sort of mentioned before, that bishop of of blues is just tragic. Uh, I don't know how you continue in this position, but there's just mate on the board now. So I think we're going to see it. It's queen takes a9 checkmate, uh, and decides not to save. It could have been saved by green. Green decides not to, and I think blue is Prathu, which means Prathu is out of the running.
Okay, so it's going to be all between Vahan and Rahito. Okay, then who do you think is Vahan and who do you think is Rahito?
Okay, so Vahan is red. I am still certain on that.
Okay.
Too slow. Rahito, yeah, and look, we're noticing the potential. Oh, is that just a
I,
look at that sacrifice. Oh, sorry,
I feel like Gangster Ace is... Ooh, that's another checkmate for Vahan. Vahan has a lot of points if that is
Vahan
actually him.
wins.
Wow,
Vahan
so
wins. Rahito is
Vahan wins.
mated.
So he qualifies together with
Oh,
Gangster H.
well
By
done.
the way, Jay.
The two Armenians are through.
Mm-hmm.
And I think,
And
to be honest, this is what Gangster wanted. Gangster has probably correctly assessed that Rahito was yellow, and accordingly.
yep. All right. So congratulations to them for progressing to the final. And you were spot on in semifinal one. You were right that Eye of the Tiger was going to score 18, Winsby 6, and the others 4 and 2. So our four finalists are Eye of the Tiger, Winsby, All Out Gangster, and Vahan.
Yeah, exactly. This is very, it was a tight one semi-final too. I think it's not an unexpected out sort of finish. I think it's a bit disappointing that for me at least that Rahito did not make it through, but it is just part of the game. And of course, in semi-final one, the reason we didn't see much coverage is, as you can see, the result was kind of known ahead of time.
Yep. All right. So very exciting. Okay. So with all of that being said and done, we are let's have a look at this. So the new Chessable repertoire tool lets you organize your openings exactly like the pros do. No more messy notes or forgotten lines. It's sleek, it's powerful, and it's designed to make sure you're never caught off guard again. Build your world-class repertoire today at go.chess.com/repertoire or just type exclam repertoire in the chat right now. And we'll be back with the final right after the break.
You know the rules, right?
Yep.
Okay. So we are playing with white pieces, and we start the game. with e4. Yeah, why do we make this move? We are occupying the center, but we are also taking an eye on the d5 square. Yeah, so usually when you put the pieces towards the center, it cannot be bad. Many people will play the same, e7, e5. Now you're developing the knight, because in the beginning it's very important to develop the pieces to castle, to fight for the center. So with this move you are threatening to take on e5. So if your opponent is not careful, and sometimes you may see that somebody plays something like, for example, b6, it's a really bad move because you can already take the pawn. But quite often your opponents will see that the pawn is hanging and they will try to protect it by developing their own pieces. So knight c6 is a very common move. And now we develop our next piece, it's the bishop. So we move the bishop to c4. Again, it's towards the center. We are taking an eye on this pawn, and we don't allow black to occupy the center. For example, now d5 is not possible because you take with the bishop or with the pawn, and black cannot recapture because you have the protection. And now you may only remember one move more. If black is developing another knight towards the center, you have this idea of playing knight to g5, attacking this pawn. And your opponent will already be a bit shocked because it's not so easy to defend it. In case your opponent will develop the bishop, yeah, also looks very normal, then we can think about fighting for the center with the moves like c3 followed by d4. So that was the Italian B.
The Esports World Cup has a $1.5 million prize fund, and 3 of those qualifying spots come from the Chess.com Open. The finals are quickly approaching, so let's introduce the top 16 players. 8 spots came from the Chess.com Open play-ins that happened earlier in March. We have Jan Abdusatorov, Pranesh, Yang Yi, Movahed, Dubov, Sarin, and Sargsyan. 8 more spots came from the top performers of the Title Tuesday Winter Split: Carlsen, MVL, Duda, Lazovic, Sivian, Sindarov, Aragaisi, and Keimer. These 16 finalists will be sharing the $250,000 prize fund, with first place taking home $50,000. So, who do you think will win the top 3 and join Carlsen, Firouzja, and Lazovic at this year's Esports World Cup?
That's the only record I have.
Well done, but come on.
Awesome.
Okay.
Who's the youngest ever international master?
I don't follow it. I honestly, I only know 2 of the junior kids, so I'm not even gonna guess. I have no idea.
Roman Skorchev.
Prague.
It's Roman Shagziev.
10 years, 3 months.
Ah, okay.
Who's the youngest ever to reach 2300 in classical?
2300 in classical.
I don't know.
Roman Shagziev.
There is a kid. I think I know him.
Who is Ethan Pang?
I don't know the name. But
Ethan Pang.
yeah, I played this guy actually.
Ethan Pang?
Correct.
Yes.
Wow. 9 years and 226 days.
Who's the youngest player to reach 2800 FIDE?
Okay, youngest player to ever reach 2800 FIDE.
I mean, I think it's either Magnus or Arjun, but maybe I'm wrong.
If it's wrong, it's wrong. But I'm just gonna say who is Magnus Carlsen?
Okay, let's say Arjun.
Alireza, I suppose?
It is me, yeah.
Correct. 18 years and 5 months.
Is that the record you're most proud of?
That's the only record I have probably. So.
Who's the youngest ever player to reach the world top 100?
Kasparov?
I'm guessing that's Erdemush.
Youngest ever. So it's not current. It's not current youngest. It's the youngest of all time.
Vei.
I choose between Kasparov, Fischer, Karpov, I don't know.
Top 100.
Kasparov.
Yeah, I'll say Wei.
Oh, youngest player to reach top 100, Judy Polgar.
What age?
12.5 years.
Impressive. Yes, absolutely correct.
And welcome back everyone to the Chess.com 4-player chess championship, Jay. We are getting ready for the finals, and in these finals, we have a slightly different format. So Jay, can you tell us a little bit about the format we have right now?
Sure thing. So here we have what is known as the check system in place. So what players are going to try and do is score as many points as possible. The aim is to get to 7 points. Upon reaching 7 points, the player officially puts the lobby in check. Once they have put the lobby in check, the player simply needs to win a game. This means that if you were to win 3 games in a row to start with, putting you on 9 points, that is not sufficient to win. You must first get to 7 or more points and then win a game. So you would have to win 1 more game after that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And Jay, we saw in the semifinals that it was all about making it into the top 2. Now it's all about first place. Do you think that is going to change the strategy? And also, Jay, I wanted to ask you, looking at these players, Eye of the Tiger, Winsby, All Out Gangster, and Vahan, who are your favorites in this group?
Right. So my favorite is probably not a surprise, but it is Eye of Tiger, aka the Messi of 4-player chess. Second by Gangster H. I think these two are the clear favorites. Vahan, of course, never out of the running, definitely a contender, but I don't think is particularly likely. I'd say 70% of to 80% of the time, the winner will be one of the other two, one of Vahan, one of Gangster, or one of Eye of the Tiger. Now, Winsby, I think, has, quite frankly, a 0% chance to win this. The best way for them to do so is going to be to play for top 3. The prize money is split in a way such that 4th gets less than 2nd and 3rd, 2nd and 3rd get the same, and 1st gets the most. So if I am Winsby, I am not thinking about getting 1st. I am thinking, how do I place out of the bottom 4?
And if that is your strategy, if you want to go for 2nd or 3rd, how do you go about that?
Quite simply, your main aim in each game is just not to get last. So I am thinking, how can I sacrifice my pieces on the player across from me at an opportune time in order to let the side players checkmate them? A scummy tactic, but it's game theory here. It's not about honor or playing properly. It's about what is best for me.
And let's say you go for first place, right? What should be your strategy in these finals?
Well, the main thing for a strategy in first place is to play sort of game theory optimally, work with the player across from you, checkmate a player on the side, and then play for a win. Your aim is to get 2 wins. Ideally, you want to get the wins earlier rather than later, but once you've secured 2 wins, you don't need to get a win in the next game. You simply need a point. So at that point, you should be looking at who your next closest competitor is and going after them.
All right, I see. And yeah, so it's first player to reach 7 points, 7 plus points, and then wins again is the new champion. Is that gonna introduce an interesting dynamic as well?
It will certainly, because at that point, once a player has put the lobby in check, it's going to simply be how they're going to figure out who that player is, and they are going to go and mate him first if possible. So we're going to say the play styles of the players radically change. I would expect a player like Gang, if he's got his head switched on, is going to slow down the pace of play, because as the fastest player remaining in the field, it will be very obvious to everyone else who he is if he doesn't change anything.
All right, and looking at this opening, we see blue taking quite a bit of time. Do you think that is Vahan? Can you perhaps identify any of the other players? What do you think so far, Jay?
Well, I think blue is taking a little bit of time, mainly because there were some potential threats based around checks on b9. Now, one important thing to note when playing this game is a check by the player on your left is the most dangerous check, because there are 2 players who get to act after that check before it's your turn to act. So avoiding checks from the left is very important. Oh, and here we have a queen takes knight sacrificing the queen. What is the idea, though, is the question. And we can see that red is arrowing exactly what they're thinking of doing. We're going to throw our queen in. If you take our queen, we have knight check. He's pointed to the wrong square, but I think he means knight check here, because the knight cannot check on this square because the queen is currently there.
Okay, so we see red diving in with the queen, blue taking his time. So what happens if you take this queen?
Well, if we take this queen, it's checkmate on the board. There is absolutely
that is
nothing that
nasty.
can be done.
Because
Nice
red is going to
double-
take that bishop, yeah?
Correct. A nice double check.
Okay, so that is already game over for blue. Not a great start for them. We see red picking up the 20, right now having a lead with 25 points. Let's see how this game will
I'm
progress.
therefore just pretty certain that that blue is probably Winsby. So we will see, but I think that leaves Vahan, Outlaw, and Louise left.
Okay, so let's see. So right now red is having the lead in points. He's pushing the pawn up the board, which it's kind of nice for him that blue is dead, so to speak, because now these pieces are not blocking him from pushing that pawn.
Exactly. Now, what we're going to see here, and you'll notice, is that although green has these two queens, in order for their king to get safe, it's going to be quite hard. They're going to have to keep it centralized for now. I don't know if I guess maybe with the time pressure control it's fine, but really I would be thinking to myself as red, I would want my king to be hidden over here. I mean, in an ideal world with enough time, what we can do is we can just walk this king over and tuck it in over here behind these dead pieces, use them as blockaders. Plant a knight here, plant a queen or a bishop, and then we can get our pawns rolling without have to worrying about our king's safety being compromised.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's see. We see green also has a queen on the board. Red can't decide to take it. He does that. But now the rook is gone, so perhaps green catching up a little bit immaterial.
Exactly. Nice 5 points to grab. Green certainly not objecting to that, especially since it was a doubled pawn. I believe that was the one that got there. Promoted.
Okay, so what should be the strategy now for green? Do you think green is kind of on its own right now with blue being gone, and perhaps yellow and red can team up on green?
Yeah, I don't think yellow and red will team up on green per se, because now it's all about balance, material balance in the 3-player stage. We want to make sure that if a player has too much material, that we work together against them. But similarly, if a player's point lead is too good or their structure is too strong, how can we punish that and make sure that no one gets too big a lead in any particular region? Now, if this was a increment game, for example, we would find what is slightly different is that a lot of the games will end up where all the players are left with a queen and a king, and they go around checking each other for, an hour before someone eventually messes up. But but in this case, it's going to simply be green trying to protect themselves, and green has made a interesting decision to castle into the major pieces of red.
Yeah, that seems quite risky to me. He's pushing up this pawn, perhaps to keep himself a little bit safer. And could he perhaps be looking at this move, pushing up the pawn, hitting the queen of red? Perhaps that's why red stepped back?
I can understand the rationale. The only problem with this move is that this bishop is never threatening to take anything here. The second this bishop moves away, all of a sudden, yellow can start delivering checks on green along this diagonal. This knight can also reroute here, with the whole point being, if you take and I take, I'm going to have easy entry into your position.
Nice. In the meantime, okay, so what is this green? Okay, the queen jumps in over here. I guess he's trying to go after this red king, yeah?
Yep, I think green is just trying to make sure that red has enough weaknesses in their camp that they can't abuse any weaknesses in his. And green's managed to really reposition his pieces in a way that, you know, is quite comfortable. I think the only improvement I would make. Oh, well, now this pawn is staring at this bishop, and green's like, I have no interest. And look how immediately that queen chops off that bishop. Red says, thank you, I'd like 5 points. I don't need this queen.
Well, one thing I notice is how fast the players are moving, right? They all still have quite a bit of time, but they really have turned up the speed. What do you make of that strategy, Jay?
I think with these players, they're so talented on such low time that I think they're all just saying, look, you know, we can all convert a winning position on low time. We mostly care about making sure we don't allow a position where our opponents can thrive with large chunks of time. Notice how this yellow battery down on red was staring, but he never went for the check because that would leave this as the only escape square, and all green would have had to done is protect that square. And obviously the 1v1 between yellow and green is completely lost for yellow, despite having 2 queens. The armada of green pawns and minor pieces more than compensate.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting strategy. Yeah, if he would have done that, he would have given a checkmate to green. You don't want to do that. We see red getting a queen, but green decides not to take it.
Yeah, green does
Now the
not
queen
want
is
to
gone.
open up this diagonal
Uh-huh.
because that's then another weakness he's going to have to defend in his camp. Fortunately, this knight here remains guard, but if this queen got on it and started barreling down, there we go. And here again, we're sacrificing just to keep weakening the position. And now we finally see this move. Knight takes pawn. We're just ripping open the position. Now this knight is uncapturable because of the pin.
Look at that diagonal. That looks tough for green to deal with. Green also low on time at 37 seconds. So whose chances do you like here? I feel like red is doing pretty okay. I mean, they have the most points. Yellow, I feel like, they have the most time. So
So sorry, yeah.
who do you think right now is going to win the game?
I think it's between red and yellow. It's one of those sort of positions.
Yep.
Oh, and that's game. What a
Wow.
checkmate. And it's
Winsby!
Winsby
Wow!
and I is lost. I mean, what?
Who would have expected that? Winsby, who was just squeezing by in the semifinals, now wins the first round in the finals, and Eye of the Tiger, who's crushing it, finishes in last place.
I was so wrong. Yeah, I'll be on. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, fair play, Winsby. Fair play. That was, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see how Eye of the Tiger will try to come back from that.
I starting with a loss in 4th place is just. Oh, wow. Yeah, like. Madness. That is. For the. Okay, I mean, that's a great start. That is a great start. Yeah.
Yep.
He yeah, Rahito immediately in the observer chat. Well, that was an unexpected start. No one saw that coming.
Exactly.
Here we have a classic sacrifice, which makes me already think that red can only be one of Gangster or Eye of the Tiger. The point being that bishop could not have been taken and the king had to move away from check. This is known theory. But so as a result, given blue shuffled away and red actually took the pawn with that little time, it means we can be pretty confident that Winsby is one of yellow and green.
Yep. Okay, so let's see how this game develops. We see the players bring out the queen, as they so often do. Yeah, it is first to 7 points, and then you have to win another match. So it's gonna be at least 4 games, but probably more like 5 or 6, right?
Yeah, I think the players are strong enough and have enough board sense in order to realize when a player is who. But I say that, and I mean, I don't think, not even just me, no one else figured out that Winsby was was in fact
Well, or
red.
do you think they knew it was Winsby and underestimated him? Could that be a thing?
I mean, I don't think so because I think the way in which blue collapsed is just. I think it's only logical to assume that it was that must have been the Winsby. I don't think
Wait, it's
anyone
shocking that
thought.
that's Eye of the Tiger, yeah, because he's the best player. He's not supposed to lose in like 10 moves.
Yeah, no, that's unheard of. So yeah. Uh, so let's see. This red position is they're really suffering from development. So I'm not sure I love this approach by them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're pushing pawns, but there's lots of threats and tempos that could potentially come. Green's knight here is threatening to potentially just jump in, right? Because blue, for example, can develop their queen, guard the diagonal, the knight hops in, and we're threatening to take with check. So I
Mm-hmm.
would not be shocked. But in this particular position, there's the nasty trick with queen here and start pushing the pawn to threaten a check if the queen was to run outside. So it's not as clear, but certainly something to consider.
All right. Okay, so let's see what is going on. The players are activating their pieces. The pawn pushes forward, hitting the knight. We see red pushing up this pawn again. This pawn is pretty close to promotion. It's right now on the 6th rank. It would have to push 2 squares more to get a queen.
Exactly. But more importantly, I think, is the fact that that diagonal is now open again. So the yellow queen can sort of sneak in and deliver a check if that blue queen ever moves. So blue has a few problems to resolve in this situation. How will he go about doing that?
I have no idea. Oh, we see red jumping in with a queen, offering a queen trade. I don't think blue should take that, or
No.
should he?
No, you're correct. If blue can avoid it, he should avoid it. How the only problem is I don't see an amazing continuation. But after queen takes, pawn takes, yellow can offer. Can yellow offer a trade with? If yellow can create a threat against green, then it's probably okay. Which they can. Okay, so instead,
Oof. He sacrificed the queen. Wow. But I guess maybe red can take here as well, and then green will, and then blue will be in trouble.
yeah, he's gonna have to take one of the queens. But this is this is yeah maybe this is now the great Winsby sweep after the
Mm-hmm.
great Bluebaum sweep. This is the new
Yeah, this is going to be the great Winsby sweep.
exactly.
Yup. Okay, so let's see what is going on. They could really all team up on blue again if they want to here.
Yeah, this is just a really I'm trying to understand the nuances. Yeah, I think queen takes I kind of see yellow's idea. It forces the capture of the red queen because if you took the yellow queen, this knight check was nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay.
We see yellow collecting more material, taking the bishop over here on b10. Okay, so let's see. Right now we have red. No, wait, who is thinking? Oh, it's yellow thinking. Goes so fast.
Yeah, they're making those quick moves. That bishop is coming out, getting ready to develop and add more pressure to the blue position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as you pointed
c6,
out,
good move, creating the square for the king.
now if red is being sharp here, what they're going to do, assuming green, of course, does not create a checkmate threat on them, then they're going to just develop their dark squared bishop here with the idea that the king ever steps to b6. Boom, bishop check. Big problems.
Okay, so green going after red now. They can take this pawn, but as red is pointing out, they can just run with the king towards g2, and they should be safe for now.
Correct. There were also other ideas based around pushing this pawn. Not only is this pawn pinned by green's queen, which obviously blue would rather not, but there are ideas with bishop check and queen takes check, assuming, of course, that red steps out of checks from green. which would
Mhm.
result in a mate after the king moves away.
All right, so let's see. We see that blue is ahead on the clock, but their position doesn't look great, if I may say so. Yellow can, I guess, take this now with check. This really feels like blue's under a lot of pressure. Um, how do you, yeah, what do you make of this board? I don't like blue's position. Is there a certain player that you do like here?
Yeah, I think green is pretty pretty chill, and sometimes this happens where your position, it just happens that everything's divulges in a way where everyone is targeting everyone but you, and you're just
Mhm.
sitting there with pretty much all of your material.
I guess because everyone, like, because blue was so weak early on that everyone was focusing on them, and because that green was pretty safe.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. But blue is, he's getting enough time here to just kind of consolidate his position a bit. This knight that you've arrowed here is so important because not only is it threatening a check, it stops yellow's bishop developing on what has got to be the most uncomfortable square for blue. I think blue wants to get their king over to a4. Instead, he steps on the light diagonal. Maybe this is safer uh, as opposed to running to a5 and a4.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's see what is going to happen. We see red is looking at that pawn push, but for the moment, blue can just take. So let's see. Right now we have.
Blue would have to take with the rook. I think taking with the pawn would
Mhm.
be almost an automatic loss after the ensuing check, but with rook d6.
Oh, check. Yeah. Okay, so he does push the pawn. Okay, so let's see what blue's going to do. I guess he can, as you said, take it with the rook. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we will potentially see that. The only downside, I guess, of after rook d6, if he takes with the rook, was this pin. But I think that it could have been prevented by green. So, however, I don't see what's happening. Well, here there is, I believe, is there a mate on blue?
I have no
No,
idea
no. Yeah,
how, but
blue correctly arrowed at the way to stop the mate, which was queen takes and queen check. The whole idea was queen takes pawn and promote, and if you take this queen, then this is a checkmate, and if you take the other queen, then this queen takes and this bishop comes with the checkmate. But green was quick enough to take this pawn and then deliver check on the red king to prevent that.
All right, so we see queen trade offered again. Let's see if yellow is going to go for it.
Well, currently
What
there
if
is
you'll do?
blue has to avoid the checkmate. Unfortunately, he goes for the queen trade. Interesting. I might have done the queen trade in a different way. Was there a way to?
Mhm.
Yeah. In this position, you could have traded the queen by playing queen to a5 check, forcing queen takes pawn check.
Yeah. We see red promoting, by the way, but that queen instantly gets taken by the knight. But if red gets an opportunity, he's going to take the knight, but he does not get that opportunity because green blocks.
The clutch save.
Mhm.
And now this knight developing move by red, which I'm not in love with because it allows an easy route forward with the green knight. And green knight can now hop to h4, whilst before it would have to have moved backwards in order to move forwards. And as we see, green says, "Thank you very much. I will take this nice little square."
Yep. Okay, so yeah, I feel like really anything can happen here. We see red not having a whole lot of pieces left, but they currently do have the lead in points. Um, blue having the lead on the clock with almost a minute, but I feel like yellow is perhaps not doing so bad on the board. What do you think?
Agreed. The bishop pair along with the set of rooks, and people think the bishop pair is a good thing in regular chess. I'm telling you, in this game, it is a monster. Oh, and green just completely misses yellow's threat here, I think.
What is
Yellow
this
just moved
threat?
this bishop here, and the threat was
Oh,
bishop takes pawn with check on green. But fortunately for green, red also missed the idea, so did not take advantage of the incoming check.
How could he have taken advantage of the check?
In the earlier position here, how could he have taken advantage of the check? That is actually a good question. I don't see there was a way of taking advantage of the check. Perhaps we just move the pawn forwards and don't hang the pawn and just cover some more squares. That might be it. You're right.
Alright.
There was no way. I assumed there must have been something with the T bishops, but I was incorrect.
Now blue is under attack, and this looks pretty scary because it cannot really step on this diagonal. It looks pretty scary with this also other bishop looking down. Red bishop's joining in as well, so I feel like blue is in trouble.
Yeah, no, this is looking pretty lights out for blue.
Yeah, there's a rook coming down potentially as well. That's why perhaps he blocks with a pawn. I guess the real question is like, who will be first to checkmate blue?
I think the blue checkmate, if it gets delivered by anyone, is going to be delivered by yellow. I think red is maybe a bit too tied up in this position. I expect to see knight j4 out of green here.
Mhm. Does anyone have a checkmate here? The king can still move here or here. I
Of
suppose
course,
not.
sorry, there's the bishop move, and that was almost checkmate.
You check on the blue king. Is there a checkmate? I don't think so. We see okay, red pushing a pawn. Blue blocks. The king can still go here, and then wait, does red have a checkmate with bishop here?
That is checkmate.
Yep. Okay, I'm getting better at this game. So red
Nice.
picking up the checkmate there, picking up the 20 points. Let's see who's gonna come out on top in this time scramble.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, red just hanging that bishop. That's obviously unfortunate. The thing is, red can just get eliminated by either side because I say this 1v1 is fairly. I want to say fairly equal. If red was to get removed, but maybe green's pawns are just a bit too quick compared to yellow. I think yellow just needs to activate a bit more. They need to prepare for an ensuing 1v1. Red has just said, screw it, let me promote 2 queens. What a life.
Yeah. We're in a time scramble here. We see that red has the most points. I feel like yellow doing pretty well on the board. Red gets a queen, but it gets captured right away.
It does indeed. Green is not going to. Oh wow! It just allows that. Okay. Oh, and that red
Red's in
queen is
trouble.
being herded.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
I have no idea what's going on. Red pushing another pawn down, getting a queen. Perhaps queen here. I think this
Ooh.
knight would be an idea. Oh wait, he's allowing a fork, as far as I can see.
Says the other queen.
Oh, he's hitting the knight now. Oh, but the rook can
yeah, I
take.
mean it's a pre-move. It is taking a gamble. It definitely feels Winsby-esque. I really do like. I was... Oh no! Come on, green is just gonna mate red. Yeah, I think.
Oh, he hangs the rook with check. That's probably
the
not
queen,
a good idea. And
wow,
could have really teamed up there on.
I mean, I think yellow is just winning now unless a mate is delivered. You can't take that queen. You can't take that queen. Oh,
okay, I think red is gonna, but it's all about who's gonna pick up the checkmate.
There must be a mate here. He's
I feel like red has great chance to win this on the clock, but is he gonna pull it? He only has his king left.
Why is red not moving?
Did he do that? Maybe he wasn't. Okay, I have
red
no
was
idea what happened.
We were not wrong, and
Eye of the Tiger redeems himself after losing the first game. This one, he comes in first place, picks up the 3 points. Winsby and Vahan get a 1. So here we have our updated standings. Winsby 4, Eye of the Tiger 3, Vahan 2, and All Out Gangster 1. What do you make of that, Jay?
I think we're gonna start. I think the timeline is gonna start correcting itself now. We've had our starting spark, but you know, it's a rough start for Gang. Bottom of the board. It's quite surprising. Vahan with a solid.
But I don't. Okay, well, anyway, they're off. I felt like Winsby had a lot of time there, but he just completely froze.
Yeah, I don't. I think maybe the idea of just giving okay, I guess red is gang. I guess
Uh-huh.
I guess the idea of giving that many points to himself this early on was just something that he just didn't want to giving everyone else a sense of hope and chance.
Okay, so as you said, you feel like red is gangster because the arrows.
Yeah, we're not up to date with the thing. It's paused. Let's get there we go. There. I do. That knight has leapt forwards in the position. We push the rook pawn now just to sort of save it. This bishop maneuver by green is well, this particular sort of maneuvering was made famous by a player named MTK3 who tried to qualify. Unfortunately, didn't make it through. But generally speaking, not usually played at the higher levels, which again puts me at assuming that Winsby is green in this game. So that leaves red as gang, and Varhan and Eye of the Tiger are either yellow or blue, and I want to err on the side of blue being Varhan just because of the bit more time usage, but I'm not sure.
So, do you? What do you think? What do you think? Eye of the Tiger changed from the first game, because in the first game he finished last, and the second game he won.
Honestly, I don't know. I when sometimes people just have a poor performance in a game at the start, like it can happen, right? Things can conspire against you without a particular rhyme or reason, and I'm going to throw it down to that being the main culprit.
Yeah, sometimes like it can just happen also in normal chess that nothing goes your way, right? Perhaps that happened there for Eye of the Tiger. He lost that game. Just unfortunate circumstances, all culminating together. But if he brings his A game as he shows, he's capable of winning any game here.
Oh, for sure. And yeah, look at these sort of quick responses. I think I'm gonna lock in blue as Varhan, yellow as Eye of the Tiger, red as red as gang, and Winsby is green. So let's see, because this bishop sacrifice was not sound by green.
So I was just wondering, Jay. So if a player reaches 7 points or more, then if they win another match, they win the championship.
That
But
is
what if a
correct.
player reaches 7 and then another player wins and they reach 8? Does that other player win, or does it not work like that?
No. So once there's only one person who will win. So for example, once they reach those 7 points and it's over, that's it. They win that game, it's over. If two players tie for first, one was on 8 points, the other was on 7 points, it does not count as an outright victory. The game will go on. If that makes sense.
Well, we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, they will need to reach 7 or more first.
Correct.
Okay, so let's see. So what do you make of this start of this match right here? Is there any any position you like?
Positionally, I think that green has the best. I expect to see this king manually move over, given the pawn break is still available. But it wouldn't shock me if it was just an outright castle and it says, screw it, I don't really care about this, but I would be surprised. I think blue's position is fine. This bishop trade, however, is almost forced. Red certainly has abilities to improve here. Obviously, the rook can come up, maybe not there because it hangs to the knight. The pawn, the bishop, the king walks over. Life's good. Yellow is perhaps the one where I'm like, I don't really see a great position yet, but it's still rectifiable.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. So, okay, we see this king tucked in over here, the blue king, but like I said, it could become unsafe if Red goes for some pawn breaks to try to get to that king. In the meantime, maybe they're gonna team up on green.
Yeah, green's knights in the middle of the board looking not quite a little bit loose right now. I think they're currently defended, but that's all one of the defenses hinges on blue's knight, so that ties that knight down. The other knight is obviously tied down to this pawn in front of the green king. Maybe this is one of the instances where you just castle because the quickest way out of the position.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's see. So, okay, is this a sacrifice from red? I mean, can that knight not just be taken yet? And blue does decide to take it.
Exactly, a big bunch of pieces gets traded off the board here, with red yellow coming out a little bit on top in terms of material. But blue is lacking in any knights. Green has this nice position. I still would love to see this knight here. This knight here crawl its way back just to keep defense of this pawn. Because he's doing it in this way. Because if I am yellow, I am breaking here immediately when I get the opportunity, and my king is going to tuck away over here.
Okay, so we see here rook here in the middle of the board by red. He really trusts yellow. I mean, yellow could take it, but I guess if yellow does that, he's also decreasing his own chances, right?
Correct. But this is an interesting move by green, and I don't think it's a very good move. Now red can take this rook, and the problem you have is after this capture, this bishop hangs with a positional disaster.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why red hasn't captured, but I think that this is a almost must capture because this would just leave the blue position in absolute ruins.
Uh-huh. So correct me if I'm wrong, but the best strategy in this game seems to be to, team up with with a player across from you a little bit in the beginning, try to beat one of the two players on the side, and then after that it becomes a bit more of a free for all. Is that correct?
Correct. Despite the free-for-all name, it is definitely one where the beginning at high levels functions more as teams. Red instead makes a really questionable move here by trading off this good bishop of theirs and allowing his own rook to be taken with tempo. So he has to figure out which one he's going to take. And yellow here, as much as he would like to take this free knight, there is this rook that needs to be taken before it moves away. So sort of a bit of a blunder here by red, and I think now all of a sudden blue green are not in the worst shape in the world as they were about to be.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see what is going to happen. Green could, sorry, yellow could take, and that's what he does. Red could take the rook, but I suppose he doesn't, as you've pointed out a couple of times.
Yeah. Okay. And red is arrowing to us who everyone is. So red has concluded that blue is Winsby. I think he said that yellow was I and green was Vahan. No, yellow was Vahan and green was I. If I'm not mistaken. But if red is gangster, which I feel he is, I think he's made maybe that's why he's decided that blue is Winsby. And if he's decided blue is Winsby, he doesn't want to just cripple him because he doesn't see him as a threat, despite him obviously currently leading. So perhaps that is why.
I feel like people keep underestimating Winsby, and Winsby might just run away with the event.
You know what? I would love to see that. The player I was most rooting for is already out, so now I'm Team Winsby.
Mm-hmm. In the meantime, we see red, who might be gangsters, pushing up this pawn, and it's just one square away from promotion, and there he goes.
And look at this incredible trust fall of green to put their rook right in the line of the two blue rooks, as we've talked about before.
But now he decides to move it here. He's like, well, I don't want to leave it hanging forever.
Yeah, no, it's like, okay, cool. Now let me just let me just put it here just in case you get some ideas.
Mm-hmm. All right, could this be an idea for yellow and red? Take here and then take here.
100% that's the reason for this move. On top of that, it vicariously defends the J2 square, so it stops blue taking that. So blue goes, fine, I'm gonna guard here first, and I don't care too much about my bishop because green, that's your job. You're the one who is going to protect my bishop, right? You're just oof. More and more threats getting created in this position. Blue is severely missing the bishop being placed around his king. Oh, and he just takes it. Of course, red is saying, yellow, you're going to come in here and protect, right? Right? You're going to protect my queen. I think yellow might just say, no, that is ridiculous.
That is your problem. Oh, and he
No.
does protect the queen.
He says, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But this is looking maybe a little bit scary for yellow, so I hope he's calculated this because this rook check. This rook check is a big problem.
Wait, which rook check? Okay,
This
check.
rook check.
King
And
up.
now bishop takes pawn, and the rook might be threatening to slide through if this knight ever moves. And worst case, this rook is just going to go up and down and up and down. Oof. And we're just going to take all of yellow's dynamic options by taking that rook, maybe, I think. I wonder.
Right, so we see red thinking he drops the queen back, perhaps looking at some checkmating ideas potentially down the line, maybe pawn up here, bishop here. Also, by the way, if he moves up this pawn, he can maybe try to go after the blue king as well.
Yes, I think so. And that blue king with all those light squared holes around it is definitely missing. And look at this move by yellow, disconnecting the two blue rooks. Red is going to grab that rook on b7 unless green can do something about it. But I don't really see what that could be.
Yeah, we saw blue setting up the classic 7th rank defense. I think we're all familiar with that. But yellow is now breaking it down with a typical move, rook to h7. And yeah, this is looking tough. I guess this red king will make an entrance somewhere. Either it's gonna say hello to this blue king, or maybe that green king over here.
Yeah, and yellow is arrowing all of the problems that blue is currently facing, and green. This is looking very problematic.
Yeah, I'd say this game looks really good for red, who is up in points. They're doing okay on the clock, and I feel like they have very good chances of delivering a checkmate, perhaps to the green king.
100%. And I think green correctly says one of these rooks is being lost. If I lose the rook that is near my king, I'm the one at risk of getting mated. If I lose the rook that's near your king, you're the one at risk getting mated. So thank you, but good night. And that is just a miss by yellow, a nice tactical motif. You can just grab this pawn with check because of this bishop pin, unless he just didn't want to give the mate to red. Instead, he gives the mate to red this way.
Wait, but why would he give the win to red? It doesn't make sense to me.
Why would he give the mate to red and then not take the queen is also very confusing.
So who do you think yellow is?
I don't. It's a very bad move. Like objectively, it's a bad decision by yellow. So with a lack of saying something that is very expected, which is being like must be Winsby.
Oh, that's mean.
I know. I'm like maybe, but if not, then like it's just a bad move. So
all right, well, we'll find out soon enough. Anyway, they're in a time scramble right now with red, yellow, and green duking it out. Red seems about to get checkmated. Can also take this queen.
Yeah, he is deciding to, it seems, and we have queen check. I think yellow is just sort of Patser checking him as much as possible.
Wait, may I go back? Didn't green have a checkmate Oh, like something like here, isn't this checkmate?
For green, I mean,
Yeah.
king takes this dead pawn
Oh,
here.
oh.
No,
I
it's fine. It's
forgot
easy
about
because it
that.
looks like it's blocked, of course. So,
Yeah.
um,
Oh, so we see red. Okay, very clever by red, walking into the dead camp, so to speak, to hide his king.
oof, yeah, but that's a
It's
brutal
not safe for long.
continuation.
Yeah.
I think this is almost certainly going to end in a win for green. This
Yeah.
safety of that king is fine, and he can afford to give away the checkmate to yellow because the point situation deems it possible. So I would expect green to win here almost always, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to be proven wrong.
He also has the most time, but of course, anything can happen in a time scramble. Oh,
Okay.
it's now red versus green.
Just queen takes pawn is a win, so no matter what now. As long as you don't stalemate. Okay.
And he gets the win. And so Vahan gets the win. He gets the 3 points.
And I was
Gangster
yellow.
gets...
That is shocking.
Wow. So for the standings, it is super close. Vahan has a 1 point lead. He has 5. I had to take 4 wins before, and Gangster 2. Wow, who would have expected this?
That is a shock. Again, Gangster is severely underperforming here. Vahan, of course, now 1 win away of putting the lobby in check. Very strong performance. Eye of the Tiger with some plays that are just not expected. Not taking that queen after the mate's delivered is very weird. Yellow starting with D11 as their first move is a very passive response here. So I'm not sure sure what's happening, but the predictions are and to answer the question for people asking what means putting the lobby in check, that means getting to 7 points because once the lobby is in check, all you must do at that point, what you must do at that point is win a game to win the tournament.
Yep. All right, but same for Eye of the Tiger or Winsby. If one of them wins another game, they reach match point as well.
Exactly. So Gangster winning is the crucial one to really keep everyone on their toes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what is gonna happen here. Is there anyone's opening you particular like in this game so far?
So everyone here plays this sort of Karo Kani type opening. And now as a Karo Khan player myself, I love that. But in terms of this particular opening, it has got to be one of the most boring ways of in terms of there's just so little dynamism to the position when you open like this.
Why is that?
Because you're just all you're doing is blunting the pieces towards your king, blocking in front of it, and then getting ready to potentially push your pawns. You're not bringing the queens out early because the quick queen development doesn't really happen in this opening. Right? So red is the only person who hasn't done that, which probably means that red is Louise, but
sorry, who's
not
Louise?
Sure. Sorry, I have the tiger.
Okay, right. And I also see that every Karo player has also gone for the Fianchetto. We see that blue pushed up their pawn, put the bishop here, castle their king. Green has also pushed up this pawn, might move the bishop here. And yellow has done that as well. So I guess this is a common strategy.
Yes, this is pretty standard. Everyone is playing quite cautiously, it seems. Yellow is, as you can see, yellow is just ready to run that pawn down the board. Though I do prefer giving a little bit of luft here for the yellow king, because right now there's no square it can move to if it wanted to, apart from, well, a very clearly poor choice in h13. So I think before we start pushing...
blue disconnected. It says blue is disconnected. So let's... Oh, and he reconnected, so that's good.
And red has made an interesting decision to... okay, so yellow's just saying, screw it, I'm not going to finish development, I'm going to push spawn. I think that this is not a good decision. I'm going to lock in my bet as yellow is wins B. Now, with red, they also made a bad choice by pushing this pawn. Now, I'm pretty sure red is Eye of the Tiger, but pushing this pawn now gives immeasurable safety to the blue king, as we've discussed, because, well, there's no pawn break. You've denied yourself this pawn break.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so we see red pushing up the pawn, hitting the bishop. Let's see what he's gonna do. Could
You-
I guess that's not a move. Yeah. Yellow just takes.
Yeah, I think the idea here is yellow is just going to attack this queen. A
Uh,
green is going to attack the queen of red so that red can't take the bishop.
mhm.
Yeah, so that's the justification behind capturing the way he did.
Okay, we see red hitting that green knight over here. Right now it is yellow thinking. Does yellow have any? Oh, he moves the rook up one square. What? I
Oh, he
guess.
moves forwards. That is surprising.
Okay.
Okay, but I guess he doesn't want to keep
What
it.
did you expect?
I was expecting it to move backwards because the green king still has yet to really complete its development. Now, what I was not expecting is this queen to just dump itself back on e1 and say I'm done with the game.
Yeah, to me that's very weird because the queen is a very active piece. You want it to like look all across the board. You don't want it to be tucked in.
I agree. I think I think everyone's now on this mission of just pushing the pawns up. Yellow is sorely missing their dark squared bishop. As a result,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so
and
let's see
red
what is
is
going to happen.
the problem with. Oh yeah, so yeah, he's pushing this pawn because this is now going to allow him to potentially play j3 and fianchetto his bishop because obviously before it would just hang the knight, which we don't want to do.
Okay, nice move here by red, blunting both this bishop and this bishop.
Yeah.
Right now we see yellow thinking. But yeah, like I said, he's missing that dark squared bishop. The king is never going to feel truly safe.
Yeah, I can agree more. Now, this move by red, I unfortunately doesn't work. Oh wow, he decides this. I thought he could the pawn on d3 because because the knight blocks the defense of it, and then obviously the check was not an issue because the bishop would just come back and capture the knight.
Yeah.
So I think that
Okay,
might have been a miss by blue.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we see this knight over here on what is it? C? No, wait, A. No, wait, sorry, C4 here,
Yeah,
which is
that
pretty close to the blue king, but there's no way to actually get to that king, at least for now.
correct. It's just very annoying.
Yeah, it's just there.
It's just,
Yeah.
just there.
Yeah. Like, go away, knight. You're not actually doing anything here.
Precisely. But it just ties down pieces. This rook is now, sort of stuck on a6 because if it moves away, knight takes b6 is just basically lights out. The
Mm-hmm.
gaping hole on d5 that gets left that he can jump to.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we see that green has castled, whereas you said that a good strategy often is to move the king over step by step and leave the rook over here. But the players don't seem to follow that strategy.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that?
I think in these sort of quicker time controls, it's more forgiving. There is less time for your opponents to sit down to think about the correct ways of punishing. I guess the other benefit that they might have, actually, I was going to doesn't quite apply, but yellow is a little bit weak. They're king, so maybe there's a reason the yellow's like, I don't really want to open it up either.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I do think that the rook is still better placed there. Your king can always step up in front of the rook if you need to bring that rook out at a later point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I think blue is going to take and promote, and green is going to just let that stay there. It's an interesting decision. Very nice idea arrowed by red. We talked about accessing that b5 square, and here's a cute way of doing it. We're gonna pin the pawn, and then this knight is coming there, and there's actually no way of stopping it.
But is it such a big deal when the knight lands here? You can just move your king back.
You can, but the issue that you might face is that that gives enough time for a player like green to see the check is going to come and try and utilize it, such as just pushing the pawn forwards. That's why
Oh, right.
that's why blue preemptively steps back.
Hmm. Yep. Okay, so let's see. So we see that green has a lead on the clock. The other players around like 150, 130. Seems like anyone's game at this point.
Yeah, and here's an issue that queen has been tempoed, and yeah, exactly. I expected. Okay, knight takes e7 was 1-1. I actually was expecting knight takes b6, ruining the safety of the blue king.
Hmm. And do you feel like you can check who? Do you think you feel like you can identify any of these players in this game?
I think it's tough, but I think identify probably green as gang, I as red, and then Varhan and Winsby as the other two. If I had to place a guess, but I'm not sure which way round it is. But the speed at which blue recaptured the pawn and let the queen hang makes me want to think that maybe Winsby is yellow. Actually, I had Winsby at yellow on move one, so I'm gonna lock in Winsby as yellow, blue as I, red as no blue as Varhan, red as I, and green as gang.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay, we see green promoting here, pushing the pawn forward. Yellow can take that. Is there a reason why they wouldn't do that? Oh, I
That
guess
would be
it was not their
the
turn yet. Yeah.
Yes, that's the only reason why they're not. And now the pieces are pouring down onto red. I don't know what to expect here, but that pawn push is allowing a pretty nasty queen trade. You're going to take that 9-point queen with your 1-point queen every day of the week. And the problem you have is it's just mate. Mate is
Mhm.
you have to take the blue queen. After that, is there a way to prevent? Yeah, I mean, you're not mated anymore, but you're going to be mated pretty soon.
So how can blue and green go about checkmating red?
So green, what blue wants to do here? Okay, this I don't like this rook move. What blue wants to do is activate their knight. Oop, that's not the knight. The knight here. What the? Jeez. Okay, that arrow spam is nuts. But I mean, activate the knight here and make use of this pin with the queen potentially coming down here to capture. Instead, they've gone after this pawn, and there's some pre-moving that. Oof, that's just gonna lead to mate.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
unfortunate.
that is a nasty checkmate on red. So red gets 0 points in this game. Okay, so I feel like blue and green should have pretty good chances perhaps to team up on yellow as well.
Yeah, I think that's certainly the case. I don't think they will team up on yellow. I think they're both going to be trying to get yellow to attack each other.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, this is interesting. Green best position, I would say.
Also mhm.
Not the point lead, but close enough.
Oh,
And yeah,
we see yellow's pushed up this pawn as well, which I believe is just one square away from promotion. So he puts a knight here, and now green
it's
lets it
gonna.
promote.
Yeah, I don't think green can do too much about that. I expect yellow to just take the bishop potentially, but I guess
Mhm.
not. Just sack for the points and then move on because yellow has a point deficit to make up,
Right.
and it's getting bigger every time this trade happens.
Yeah, I think for yellow, it seems impossible to. I think it's very unlikely to win because they're just so far behind. So I guess it's going to be either blue or green who will get the 3 points in this game.
It feels like if I feel like this is a funnily enough, I think this is a green or yellow victory.
Okay, I guess yellow still has a lot of pieces. Yeah.
Exactly.
Blue by the way has no pieces left. They only have like knight, bishop, and couple pawns.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that's the thing, right? Blue is maybe just going to be too weak.
Hmm.
Um. Oh. To do anything, and yellow is just got such a material lead. It's going to be between the two of them.
Right. Oh, there goes that. Okay, he gives up the. He does an exchange sack for the knight and a pawn. Oh, there goes another pawn.
Oh, he allows the check. That's surprising. King up, and I think if I am green, I am rerouting my pieces. This knight belongs on this square, where it guards this pawn. You have this sort of perfect little safe space for your king.
They're moving so fast. Now green is pushing up another pawn. I feel like yellow has lost a lot of his pawns in the process.
Yeah, they definitely have. They still obviously have their 2 rooks, but the good thing is the time advantage of green is kind of slipped.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this pawn here is going to move forward. Now,
Oh,
blue has
green just
been
got another
subtly just
queen.
pushing. Yep,
Sorry, blue got another queen.
he's just been pushing, and I think that king is going to go try and hide itself.
Yeah.
There's the pin.
Oh, there's the
That is
queen.
a tragic move.
Okay. Seems like the end is near for blue. Maybe yellow can do this or something. There should be. I don't know. There's a checkmate. He can still take the king.
This is unfortunate. Yeah, this is the only way.
Green was thinking this time. Perhaps he's looking for checkmate. Oh, this looks. There's got to be something, right?
Oh, that's how is that not made?
Yeah, they're still here. Oh, but okay. There's no checkmate for. Yellow picks up the checkmate. That makes up a lot, and now yellow should be in a great spot to win this match. Yeah, because it's just 1v1, and blue has no point. No pieces left.
It's over. As long as he's on stalemate, it's fine.
Yellow, Eye of the Tiger, picking up a full 3 points again. We see Vahan picking up 1 point, and Gangster picking up 1 point as well. So Eye of the Tiger right now is on match point with 7 points. If he wins one more match, he wins the tournament.
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, Eye of the Tiger doing a very good job disguising himself. I got Eye and Winsby the wrong way round. Gang and Varhan we were correct on, but Eye and Winsby with that early D11 kind of through the spanner in the works. Ooh, let's try and hop into the next one. Now, I has got the lobby in check, so I has 7 points. Now, if I wins a game, that is over. Varhan simply has 2 goals here. That is to get not 4th and then make sure I doesn't win. Varhan's job is not to win. Him winning versus him getting 2nd or 3rd makes no difference. He cares much more about making sure that I doesn't win and he doesn't get 4th in the process.
Yep. So I has to win a match now, yeah? So like 2nd places don't matter anymore.
Correct. It's like, but I think I's strategy has been to just get 1st anyway. Despite the earlier start. The slow start, but it's kind of headed off in the direction we would sort of expect. So let us see. I think it's going to be a nice slow start to the game here. I don't imagine anyone going for anything too ambitious. They're going to be thinking, how can I figure out which player is Eye of the Tiger? Everyone is thinking that. Eye of the Tiger is hopefully thinking, how can I think in a way that makes me not look like me?
Yeah. And I guess if they figure out who Eye of the Tiger is, they're just gonna go 3v1, yeah?
100%. If they do, if they're like, this is Eye is mated.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, it must be pretty tough if like 3 players team up against you. Like when 2 team up against 1, that is already tough, especially if your teammate doesn't help. But if it's 3 versus 1, there's just nothing you can do.
Yeah, correct. Even 2v1, if your teammate does nothing, you will get mated.
Yeah.
But yeah, 3v1, it's just over. So I think we see these arrows about maneuvering the knight. Intriguing. If we're to base those arrows off of the previous game, the way in which they're done, then maybe we can say that yellow is Winsby because Winsby was making the sort of slower arrows with red in the last game. Red is inviting blue to have a nice safe king. A very interesting decision. Maybe they decided that they want their king to go on that side, but that is not what I would be doing or expecting.
Okay, we see a lot of tension here. Is there an opportunity for one of the players or not really?
I can't see anything that stands out particularly. It's more like green hung a pawn. I think blue might be tempted to just take the bishop because trading the queen for both the light squared bishops is certainly something. Oh,
Mhm.
okay. And this is a nice, a much. I didn't see this, but this is that is quite cute. He's going to use the knight to block for the bishop.
Okay, so let's see. Green is eyeing this rook over here in the corner. Let's see what's going to happen. We see red taking his time. Is there a reason why
Yeah,
he
the
wouldn't just do
knight.
this, or?
I think he's looking for a way to both not like it's sort of having lost a whole piece, i.e. this bishop. Yeah, so he goes for what I sort of expected here, which was to sack the queen in this way.
Okay, so
And
yellow
now,
does take the green queen.
yeah. This of course is much better for blue green. With both light squared bishops missing from the two players in return for a knight and a queen.
Yeah, so they can really try to dominate now in the light squares. Okay, so let's see. We saw red moving up their rook. Is there any strategy behind that? The crazy blue arrow, the crazy green arrows.
Yeah, the point of the rook maneuver is to guard the j3 square. We're just saying we don't want this to happen because if I take and blues maneuver their pieces, this check is a check from the left, which can be lethal because we met with rook takes pawn. The king would be forced up, and then queen here and rook here would be checkmate. So that is the reason for the rook lift.
All right, okay. We see red brewing, their bishop eyeing this king over here potentially.
Oh, it's very nice idea because it is very vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And we see one of the problems with putting your bishop on this square because whenever it gets traded, you open up your king. So, yeah, a very astute decision. But in this position, bishop takes pawn is a very, very doable tactic because this still
What if he
hangs
just
in the air.
recaptures?
The idea being, of course, is that bishop takes pawn check and queen takes is a threat. So even
Yeah.
if not immediately playable because the blue has enough counterplay, then there might be problems.
Okay, we see yellow moving their queen back, so green doesn't have to worry as much anymore. And green was looking to maybe sacrifice on blue. That's an arrow he drew. What do you make of that?
If green is disappointed with how his opposite is playing, it's one way of saying that. But it's also a way of saying to people, I think blue is eye of the tiger. And if I think blue is eye of the tiger, I want you guys to think that I think that. But of course,
Wait,
it
but
could
the
be
other players cannot see the arrows, right?
they cannot see the arrows. So he's considering, can I just sacrifice? The risk there, of course, and what I would probably do whether it would work, is I would sacrifice on my opposite as Eye of the Tiger after a while to pretend that I have figured out that he is Eye of the Tiger when I am, in fact, Eye of the Tiger. So there are metagame, there are levels to this.
Yeah.
And so let's see what happens.
There was an interesting opportunity earlier where green and blue could have really teamed up on yellow, but they decided not to do that. Do you think there's a specific reason for that?
I think again, it boils down to them trying to figure out if green has to initiate, right? So if green is not I, and I think we're of the opinion that blue is probably I, but if that's the case, green doesn't want to commit to checkmating someone who is not Eye of the Tiger.
Right.
So you're going to see a lot of that. People are going to be quite reticent to go in on a mate if they aren't pretty confident that they're mating the current person who can win the lobby.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's see what is going on here. I feel like blue is doing pretty well. They still have their queen, a lot of pawns,
Oh.
2 rooks. They also have the most points. Their king is pretty safe.
It's
Would
just
you-
a dream position as blue, isn't it? It's just chef's
Yeah.
kiss.
There goes their queen, though, but should be okay. In the meantime, red actually barely has any pieces left, and so does yellow.
Yeah, but red has this nice little block in front of their king, so I
Mhm.
think they can probably chill for a while. And this pawn chain is there. The problem is, I think before doing this rook really belongs on this square because this bishop is just gonna chomp through
Yeah.
all of it.
But even with the rook there, the bishop can take anyway, as it's protected by the knight.
Yeah, but I think what red can do is just play rook takes bishop. Because remember, they're both worth roughly the same
Mhm.
amount
Right.
of points. But also, you don't want to allow the bishop to just chomp through that chain of pawns. Like, that would be a disaster.
It's kind of incredible how, like, it seems like these pawns are already so far, but you still need to push them 1 square further, and if you do
Ugh.
that, they'll get chopped off the board, so...
Yeah, and yellow is going to defend, and then blue is going to defend the red. Yeah, blue's going to push, yellow's going to push, green is going to take it's going to be absolute mayhem. Everything's
so
going
I'd say
to... Ooh, wow, instant pre-move. I'm surprised that's the capture direction we got.
Okay, let's see what's going to happen. Yellow might have an opportunity to take this rook. So overall, I'd say it still looks pretty decent for green. They have the most points, also still a lot of material on the board, and they have them. They're not too far behind on the clock compared to green.
Yeah, no, red is definitely in the worst position. I think we can probably agree there. This sort of 2 pawns running forwards ended up being a pretty fruitless activity, which resulted in, well, nothing improving in their position whatsoever. And now this bishop has said, enough's enough. So, oof. This is just, I mean, the tension in the middle of the board. What? It's so hard to figure out what's happening, isn't it? Just
Yeah, it is. It truly is. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, you think that blue is probably eye of the tiger, yeah?
yes, I think blue is eye.
But
And I think
maybe
red is
they
Vahan.
realized that as well, but they might have realized a little bit too late. I mean, they cannot let Eye of the Tiger win, then he just wins the tournament.
Yeah, of course. I think yeah, this is kind of expected. If red, I'm pretty sure is Vahan. Again, just very, very the time situation is not favorable to him. But red has to be careful not to get lost. They were in the worst position on time, the worst position on points, the worst position on material. It's not impossible.
Barely have anything left, yeah.
I distinctly remembering winning a game once where there were all 4 players left on the board. I had the least points, and my material count was 2 pawns and a knight. So it's not impossible, but it is not likely. And I had the benefit of an increment. This is not something that is available to Johan. And now that knight is pinned, it can't even move. Oh. Green is chilling.
Green getting 2 queens in the middle of the board. Oh, there goes one, but he still has another one. Okay, by the way, blue has this rook over here, which I just saw. Red promotes a queen, but it gets taken instantly. Yeah, I guess that's the clock for red, yeah? Yeah, red is getting picked up. Does anyone have a checkmate here?
No mate, but oh wow, you're just giving okay.
Still no checkmate, yeah?
Yeah, he steps up to deny it.
Have to be really careful not to give the checkmate to any other player.
Exactly.
Oh, here comes blue. Still no checkmate, as far as I can see. Still no
still no checkmate.
Now there's a checkmate, no?
Yeah,
Just checkmate, no? Oh wait, there's still not.
he's giving a bit of room for And now green
It's
is
another queen.
firmly in the driver's seat here, I think.
It's the 2 queens. I feel like it's all about who gets the checkmate. Wait, this is no, wait, that's not a checkmate.
It's
Where's the
crazy, right?
checkmate? Still no checkmate.
He needs a third queen. Then it's mateable, I think. I think that's the requirement.
There are like 4 queens. There still no mate.
Yeah, no, but at least red has gotten some easy moves to play now.
Yeah, red doesn't have to think much anymore.
And just green has promoted a very large number of queens, I think.
Yeah, he gets another queen.
Oh, surely
Is this checkmate? Is this checkmate?
No, there's still the L4 square. That's what I thought as well. I was like, maybe it's mate, but no.
Okay.
Damn. Red is trying to stalemate himself, I think. But that's not even useful because you don't even have 20 points still puts you in last.
But I feel bad for green because I feel like he lost quite a bit of material in the process, and now it feels like maybe blue is doing pretty well again.
Yeah, blue is looking pretty hot here. I will say.
Blue pushing up this pawn, getting. Wait, is there a checkmate? This bishop also covers. There's gotta be a checkmate. I mean, there's no way. There's no way. What?
Normally, the comment section is very quick to point out the checkmates when they occur. So there is no, and so far, no one has pointed out such the existence of such a mate. He's not.
The thing is, yellow doesn't have any time, so even if there's a checkmate for yellow, he's probably not gonna find it. But green and blue have time to figure out checkmates if they. Like, there's no.
Immediate win for blue. He just takes the pawn. Blue has won this game. This is
unless green. Wait.
Oh my god! What just happened? There was a. He let him checkmate. That's it. Green just has to take the rook.
Ooh.
Queen takes the rook. Oh no! There's still another. Oh no! There's still another queen. He needs to stalemate that stalemate or checkmate the yellow.
Okay, this might be critical for the championship. I feel like Eye of the Tiger might be one of these 2 players. Oh wait, this king can still be captured because he got flagged.
Eye of the Tiger is about to claim the game. It
and
is
Eye of the
over.
Tiger wins the game, and with that, the championship. Wow, what a game!
The live king, exactly. Quickly missed, and well done to Eye after a very rough start.
Yep, he wins the championship. Wow. So we see Eye of the Tiger scoring 10 points, Vahan coming in second, Wins becoming in third, and Gangster coming in 4th place with 4 points. So Jay, what are your thoughts on this championship?
Wow, I mean, I think this is I want to say a sensational return by Eye of the Tiger after a very rough start, being losing that first game, followed by a second, and another win. But as a result, in this last game, the players kind of figured out who I was, but yellow was instrumental in having to target blue, and yellow just simply did not go for it.
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, Eye of the Tiger is our deserving champion. He played the best 4-player chess. And yeah, so don't go anywhere, everyone. We will go on a short break, but when we come back, we will have an interview with our winner. So we will see you very soon.
Do you ever feel like the game is losing some of its human element with the rise of AI? I don't think it's losing the elements because AI is going to help players to play better chess. Players can never memorize everything. My name is Alireza Firuzja. We're gonna check some questions. What is Alireza Firuzja's favorite fashion designer? I think Louis Vuitton is my favorite. Where is Alireza Firuzja from? I was born in Iran, but now living long time in France. There's a special peak rating 2800 something 3 probably 4. Who is Alisa Spiritual's girlfriend? She's a volleyball player. What is Alisa Spiritual's favorite chess opening? I would say King's Indian or Sicilian. When did Alisa reach 2800? When I was 18.
We have a few more questions from ChatGPT.
How did moving from Iran to France was? I was already like 16, so it was a good decision for my chess to be in Europe and the freedom of going around and playing chess. It's very cool. Your style is often described as aggressive and dynamic. How would you describe your approach to the game and how do you develop this type of style? Yeah, I think my approach is very tactical, sharp attacking, and you have to solve a lot of puzzles in the beginning when you're a child, and the pattern stays in your head. What are your thoughts on balance between preparation with engines and maintaining creativity in your games? Do you ever feel like the game is losing some of its human element with the rise of AI? I don't think it's losing the elements because AI is going to help players to play better chess against each other. So I don't think chess ever going to die because players can never memorize everything. What do you consider the biggest difference between playing online chess versus over the board? For me, there's no difference. I think for a lot of players, it's different from online and over the board. But for me, I feel like it's the same game. Chess has seen rapid evolution in recent years. How do you see the role of young players like yourself shaping the future of chess? Yeah, I think it's very important to have good new generation coming. So I'm proud that a lot of players are very competitive, Gukesh, Arjun, and I think we have a good generation that is coming to slowly take over. What advice do you give to young players who want to reach the highest level in chess? What do you think is the most important quality? Yeah, I think the most important is to play a lot of tournaments and not be afraid of losing, especially for young people, to know that they should just think about improving, and losing is not end of the world. That's it.
Your brain is a supercomputer capable of millions and millions of complex calculations and decisions. But your brain needs exercise, practice to keep it sharp and incisive. Chess puzzles are a great way to work out your brain, building pattern recognition, critical thinking, and memory. Doing puzzles every day makes your mind fit, helping you build creativity, problem solving, and memory skills. Puzzles on Chess.com featuring hundreds of thousands of original, beautiful problems tailored to your level. Whether you've never played before or you're a veteran, whatever level you're at, Chess.com's coach will help explain both the puzzle and the solution so you learn as you go. Most importantly, Chess.com puzzles are fun. Find interesting, beautiful solutions while building streaks, leveling up, and competing with friends. Try puzzles today on Chess.com and give your brain the exercise it's craving.
And welcome everyone back to the four-player chess championship. And we're joined by our winner, Luis Ignacio. Luis, congratulations! You absolutely crushed the semifinals, but in the finals you lost the first match. The comeback very strong. What was going through your mind? Did you make any adjustments after losing that first match?
Well, after I ended up in fourth place during the first game, I was really surprised. I thought that my opposite should have done something else, but I wasn't mad at him. I could get it, and I was getting ready for the next games. I mean, it wasn't over yet.
Nice.
Although I think that was one of my best moments in a tournament, because I hadn't lost a single game in the previous tournament, so I couldn't get that feeling, and I'm glad that I didn't take it.
Right. About on the topic of that, I mean, how does it feel to win this back to back? I mean, you were last year's champion.
Like I said, in the previous championship, I was feeling very nervous, but sincerely, this time I was feeling more comfortable, even during the semifinals. I think I suffered during the arenas because it was almost impossible to qualify for any of us.
Interesting. And I was wondering, so when you reached 7 points, you knew you had to win one more match. Did you do anything to disguise yourself to make sure that none of the players would not team up on you?
You know, I almost forgot that I should have changed my playstyle. I knew I should have hidden from them, but no, I just play everything I wanted to. And I remember that in the last championship, I actually did change my playstyle, and it worked in the long run. But this time was different.
Oh, very nice. We have a question from your compatriot Rahito. He was wondering, how did you approach the finals, and who do you think was the most dangerous opponent?
Obviously, the two candidate masters, Bahan and I forgot his name. Gangster is the username.
Hamlet.
Well, they both were definitely the most dangerous. I think especially Hamlet, because he improved a lot and he was a 3,000 rated player.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Luis, I was wondering, so what was going through your mind in that final game? You knew you needed one more win. The game seemed pretty close. Did you feel any nerves at that moment?
Well, at first I thought that I was going to get attacked by the three of them. Perhaps they could figure out who I am and target every piece at me. But, well, I think I exaggerated a lot. During the final seconds, I never thought it was Yellow who ended up losing on time. But I think I won because of him. Because I thought that Green was actually trying to attack me, but I was surprised that Yellow didn't attack me. So after he forfeit on time, I already knew that I was winning. So I wasn't nervous.
I guess, do you have any sort of feedback about this event? What you enjoyed? What do you think what would you like to see going forward?
Well, at least from my perspective, I think the arenas should be different, because definitely most of them were a matter of luck. I mean, we could see that top players were winning against new players as quick as possible, and meanwhile, other players played against other top players, and that was definitely more difficult for them, especially and for me too. I think I was lucky enough in the fourth arena because I play against a lot of new players, and yeah, I was skilled enough to manipulate it, and I could handle it very well, just like the other winners.
Yep. And I have one last question, Luis. How do you get good at 4-player chess? What is the strategy? What do you need to do?
I think it was because of the obsession, because during 2020 and 2021, do you remember the coronavirus? Well, I used to spend most of my time at home and I was getting bored. Then I discovered chess and improved little by little. Then I came here and yeah, I think I played a lot back then, and that's how I improved because of my experience. I've been playing here since 2018.
All right.
And
Well,
also
oh,
because
sorry.
I improved in normal chess.
Okay, nice. Well, you heard it from our champion. If you want to get good at 4-player chess, just play a lot. Also, it helps you get better at normal chess. And maybe, maybe anyone watching can challenge Luis next year. But Luis, we really appreciate you joining us for an interview. You played amazing today. You are a deserved winner. Jay, also wanted to thank you for being an amazing co-host today. And of course, our producer, Wouter Bick, and of course, everyone who also helped producing this show. So for now, we say goodbye. Thanks everyone for watching, and we look forward to seeing you all in the next community event.